7 o'clock, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. With Brooke Grimsley and Matthew Rocchio, I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us on Super Bowl Monday. Good morning, Brooke. How you doing?
Good morning.
You're very excited, even though your guy, his team didn't win the Super Bowl, but your guy, Juwan Jennings, would have been the MVP if his kicker could hit an extra point. Super Bowl, by the way, is over. The Chiefs did beat the Niners. If you had to go to bed early, it went to overtime, and the Chiefs won it by a score of 25-22 in OT. But Brooke is beaming about a guy from her hometown.
Juwan Jennings. I tweeted out last night because I was at a Super Bowl party for the first half, at least, because I went home after watching the halftime performance, which we'll get into all of that. But I went home after halftime just to do the rest of my show prep and watch the rest of the game. But Juwan Jennings is from my hometown. And I tweeted this out, Randy, me resisting the urge. It was a meme of somebody just holding back. Me resisting the urge to not mention 1,000 times that Juwan Jennings is from my hometown. He played at Blackman High School. It's actually the high school that David Price went to.
Oh.
And so we, I had a little bit of a rooting interest. But in general, Randy, I'm not a fan of either one of these teams, but I can't doubt the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. Whether you like him or not, he's kind of turned into that Tom Brady villain-esque.
Can I start with something? If you don't like Patrick Mahomes, you have hate in your heart. Go ahead.
I agree with you, Randy. Look, I agree with
Patrick
you.
Mahomes?
Well, Randy, a lot of people don't like Patrick Mahomes.
If you're a 49er fan, I get it maybe. But he's a great guy who does everything right. He never gets in trouble. He does unbelievable things for his community.
I think people don't like his family that much, is what I've gathered. They don't like his brother. They don't like the whole Taylor Swift thing, which I know that's not exactly directly related to him. I don't think they like a lot of the other fanfare around him. But also they don't like him because he's really freaking good.
And I would say they have hate in their heart.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine. It takes all kinds.
It does. But we are witnessing greatness with Patrick Mahomes. With what he's able to do, how can you not like him? One, because he just leaves it all out there on the field. And what he's able to do over and over again, you have to respect it. They have a dynasty that they're building now.
For the third time, Mahomes.
You don't like that? You don't like the dynasty talk?
No, it's, we just got a text, and it's from the 314. 49ers fan, I absolutely have hate in my heart.
See, there you
Fair
go.
enough.
I gave that caveat. If you're a 49er fan, it's probably a little bit different for you. It was a 10-3 game at halftime, and you maybe were just trying to switch things up a little bit when you left that Super Bowl party at halftime. But things opened up a little bit in the third quarter. Harrison Butker set a Super Bowl record with a 57-yard field goal, with 5:01 left in the third quarter to make it a 10-6 game. And then the Chiefs finally got their first touchdown of the night with 2:28 left in the third.
16 is San Francisco. Mahomes in the gun, 1st and 10. Catches on, goes end zone, caught, touchdown! Backpedaling, two-handed grab. Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, and the Chiefs on a 16-yard touchdown pass have taken their first lead in Super Bowl 58.
Harrison Butker hit the extra point. It was 13-10 at the end of the third. With 11:22 left in the fourth, Brock Purdy and the 49ers responded.
Purdy is in the gun for the Niners. 4-man front for the Chiefs. McCaffrey off his left hip. Low shotgun snap. Line drive throw. Caught at the 5. Between breaking the tackle. Jennings. Goal line. Twisting. Touchdown. San Francisco. There's every capture the lead in the fourth quarter in Super Bowl 58.
And then the play of the game, Jake Moody missed the extra point, and it remained a 16-13 game. Harrison Butker with a 24-yard field goal, 16-16. Moody with a 53-yarder, 19-16 in favor of San Francisco. Back with 3 seconds left comes Butker to hit a field goal to make it 19-19 and send us to overtime. 7:22 left in overtime in the first overtime quarter. It's 22-19 after a Jake Moody 27-yard field goal. So the Chiefs get one opportunity to either tie the game or win the game, and Mahomes does everything. He throws and he runs to set up what would be
third down, less than a yard. In the gun is the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. A knee-high shotgun snap. Runs up the middle on the quarterback draw, the 30. Broke a tackle, 25-20. Down the middle he goes, inside the hash mark at the 15. Finally tackled at the 13. A burst, a run, and a big-time play by Patrick Mahomes, running for 19 to the 13 of San Francisco.
Kevin Harlan with the call. Isaiah Pacheco would carry it down to the 3-yard line. And on the final play of the game, it was Mahomes one more time.
First and goal at the 3. Lining up in the clock at 10 seconds and ticking. In the shotgun, Mahomes. 4-man front, receiver in motion, low snap. He runs and he throws, caught, touchdown. It's caught. Hardman caught the ball. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won. The entire bench empties, chasing Mahomes in the end zone. Their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years. The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champion. It is a dynasty.
It is a dynasty. 13 plays, 75 yards. It took 7 minutes and 18 seconds for that championship, literally a championship drive for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And as Kevin Harlan said, their 3rd in 5 years, their 4th title overall. And 3 in 5 years, that's a dynasty, Brooke.
To me, it is a dynasty, especially with what Patrick Mahomes is doing. We are witnessing greatness, and I think that shouldn't be taken lightly. What happened there at the end is greatness. That's something that makes a huge difference where you're talking about him being one of the greatest of all time. Where do you put him in that category now, Randy? Is he now in your top 3 of quarterbacks?
Oh, yeah.
Because he still has time. He's 28 years old.
For me, he's right there in my top 1. There is no suspicion of anything untoward like there was with Brady's career. And, oh, by the way, Brady's career was 7-8 years in before there was any suspicion of them cheating. But the fact of the matter is, he did have... He had abilities, Brady did, to take advantage of the defense with what Bill Belichick was doing that other quarterbacks don't have. And you can't do it now because what they did, what New England did, because the linebacker has a helmet speaker and things like that. But in terms of just having the combination of throwing ability, he's the best thrower I've ever seen, with the escapability, the ability to run the ball on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1. I have been watching for more than 50 years, and I have not seen anybody better than Patrick Mahomes at that position.
To me, his legs were critical in the second half. His mobility that he was able to show off, he picked up 66 yards on the ground. But, Randy, I know that Patrick Mahomes, and rightfully so, he's going to get a lot of credit today. Everybody's going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes. We have to talk about the others, in my opinion. You have to talk about the Chiefs' defense. They were great all season, top 5 defense. And what they were able to do in that game last night, they deserve a lot of credit. But also, you have to give credit to the other guys. MVS, what he was able to do, that touchdown in the first half, that was his first touchdown of the game. And then you had Mecole Hardman coming up big in the game. And you even had a guy like Justin Watson with a couple of 3rd down conversions, and Harrison Butker with 13 points overall. He was 4 for 4 on field goals. And those are just the other things that show you it does still go back to Patrick Mahomes, because the way that he's able to really build his guys up, make others around him better, and it also shows the trust. But those others should get a lot of credit too.
And the Chiefs special teams coach, Dave Taub, was the strength coach at Mizzou when Andy Reid was at the University of Missouri. They get the recovery on the ball that goes off of the foot of a 49er player to set up their first touchdown. And Mahomes throws a touchdown pass to MVS on the first play after that play. And then they have the blocked extra point, which wound up being the difference in the game. San Francisco wins in regulation if they don't block that extra point. And then Butker and the kicking game were sensational. Special teams were huge for Kansas City as well. Here's Mahomes on the game-winning drive.
Really, just the whole game was just kind of our whole entire season. It was the defense just keeping us in there, and then the offense making plays when it counted. And then, of course, Harrison Butker hitting from about 70. So it was a microcosm of our whole season. I'm just proud of the guys. They kept believing, and I'm proud of the coaches for calling up those plays. They got us some touchdowns there at the end.
You know, you go on and win the championship, being the underdog the last 3 games in the playoffs. Maybe a lesson learned for everybody else out there in the future.
Yeah, just know that the Kansas City Chiefs are never underdogs. Just know that.
They never are. No. You have to like his personality, too. I think he's funny.
He's fantastic. By the way, Nick Bolton, 13 tackles to lead Kansas City, the Mizzou linebacker, and he's the centerpiece. And when they had that down period, Brooke, remember, he was hurt during the middle of the season.
Yes.
Their defense still played really well, but he is the bell cow of that defense. He's the one that makes things go. And Bolton, congratulations to him and to all the Chiefs fans here and in Kansas City. There's nothing like winning championships, and they've got 3 out of 5. And I played golf the other day. That'll be actually one of my items in our next segment. But Brad Barnes grew up in the Kansas City area, grew up as a Chiefs fan, and never got to experience it. And I was asking him the other day if he still felt joy when the Chiefs won. And he said, well, it's kind of an expectation now, which is the exact same thing that happened with the greatest show on turf. You win that first one, and it is joyful. And now you say, okay, well, we won another Super Bowl. It's weird how continued excellence changes your perception of what should be, because it's really hard to win an NFL game, one NFL game, let alone get to the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl. Coach Vermeil always said it was just as impressive to get to a Super Bowl as to win it, and it is. But for Kansas City to have won 3 of the 4 that they played in and win 3 in 5 years is really impressive.
3 in 5 years. That's the big thing. With Patrick Mahomes, with what he's been able to do, and he's just 28 years old, yeah, that expectation should be high that you're going to accomplish this just about every single year, because who's going to stop him? The 49ers, honestly, I think, played better than the Chiefs for the majority of the game. Wouldn't you say so?
They did. There were... Brock Purdy played really well. Their defense played really well and got after Mahomes.
Nick Bosa was insane.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He was fantastic. And we talked about that last week, how the right tackle, Jawan Taylor, was in trouble. Yeah, they played really well. You can play really well. And here's the one team that is going to be able to do it. If Jim Harbaugh does what he's always done, builds a big, physical football team, and there are departures because of free agency from Kansas City, I think that's where the tide could turn. But are there many teams? First of all, you have to be able to contain Patrick Mahomes. But Spags is probably the best defensive coordinator in the league with the youngest defense in the league. Then they'll have to do some work. They'll have to improve their offensive line. But Rashee Rice is only a rookie. They'll have Kelsey for another year. At least for next year, they're going to be really tough to beat. And
they're going to restructure Patrick Mahomes' contract. Yeah, I don't doubt that whatsoever, so that they can be more competitive and get some of those other things that they need. But for the 49ers in this game, it just came down to a blocked extra point and a muff punt. That, to me, was the difference maker. And I think we have to get into this later, because I guess you could say it was a little bit of a controversy. Was it a mistake by Kyle Shanahan for not deferring in overtime? We will talk about that, and I think that you can go either way on this, but that'll be part of the show today here on 101 ESPN. Coming up with Brooke and Matthew and Randy, we've got 3 things we love from the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club so much. This year, I set 2 really big goals for myself. That is getting in shape for my big wedding day coming up in June, and also getting back into tennis. And thanks to the Missouri Athletic Club, I am able to accomplish both of those goals that I've set for 2024. I've started playing tennis again with Scott. I'm even picking up some pickleball. Pickleball is really big right now, and it's been so exciting to get into that. And also, I've started my personal training with Christine, and she is my girl. She has been awesome. I'm already noticing some huge results, and I'm really excited. And that's what they do there. They always provide a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
You can watch us on the Air Alliance Team Studio Cam. Just go to YouTube, type in 101 ESPN STL, and we would love to have you watch us during the course of the show, and we would love to have you subscribe to the channel. Are we going to do the...
I thought you were about to do it for a second there.
Well, let's do the Air Comfort Service text line. Always open, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And coming up at the end of the hour, we're going to have Take It or Leave It. But we'll get started here with 3 things we loved from the weekend.
Number 3.
Number 3 for me will be the Super Bowl party that I was at last night. Randy, I love a good Super Bowl spread. And I know I was just talking about how I'm doing personal training. I work out hard so I can enjoy food that you have during Super Bowl weekend.
Just like last night, playing for the tie.
Exactly. Exactly. So we had a great spread, a lot of different food. We had all different types of wings, everything. And then my diet starts today. Hopefully.
Good, there you go.
Don't you always do that where you say, okay, after this weekend,
after
I'm
this
done.
weekend.
So I
Totally.
loaded up. I had brownies, they had donuts, they had wings, all of that stuff. It was a lot of fun. So that was one of my top 3 things from this weekend.
Had some wings, had some delicious crab dip in a sourdough bowl. San Francisco had some barbecue, and had from our friends at Sugar Fire Pie a Mississippi mud pie.
Ooh.
Yum, yum, yum.
Ooh, that is delicious.
Brooke, my number 3 is actually from Friday, February 9th in St. Louis. February 9th in St. Louis, I was out at Whitmore playing golf. It was nice. It was great.
It was so nice outside.
The weather
that
was
day.
perfect, and my buddy, former Fast Lane producer Brad Barnes, we got out. Good to spend time with him, and congratulations to Brad. I know he's listening on his Super Bowl championship. But, man, being able to play golf in February in St. Louis was pretty cool. So that's a pretty good number 3.
It is a little weird that it was so warm.
It was fantastic.
And now it's a little bit colder. But how did you do? How did you finish on the day?
Mediocre, but we had a good time. Had a really good time.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Number 2.
My number 2 is going to be the halftime performance. I don't want to hear that it wasn't that good. For me, it was fantastic. And maybe it's just because of my age group. Matthew, you can weigh in on this as well. You love Usher, right?
Who doesn't love Usher?
I know. Well, I think that some people maybe want to
Usher, baby.
see something different. I truly enjoyed it. I thought he did such a great job. It was one of my favorite halftime performances that I've seen in a long time. I think one of my top halftime performances would be Prince. Prince would be way, way up there. Usher, this was just a really good overall performance. The people he brought out, it brought me back to my childhood. I remember the first time I heard the song, Yeah, which I believe he played that when they were on their roller skates. The first time I heard that was when I was in elementary school, and it was at the roller rink, and I vividly remember, and I played it over and over and over again. He brought out Alicia Keys, he brought out Ludacris, he brought out her. That was the woman who came out with the guitar. I think some people were confused about who that is. That's her. She is fantastic. And he also brought out Jermaine Dupri. I loved it. It was a big throwback for me.
Yeah, they did a really good job, and he did a really good job. Congratulations to Usher. My number 2, Brooke, is Saturday night. I was at the IBEW Hall for the annual Fathers and Family Support Center Trivia Night, and I host that every year, and we raise money for Fathers and Family Support Center, which is an unbelievably great charity here in St. Louis that connects fathers that aren't with their children, their biological children, to them. And Over the course of the last 27 years, this organization has connected 20,000 fathers to 50,000 children that didn't have a relationship with their fathers in the St. Louis metro area. And I've always said, why is it only in St. Louis that this is happening? This is foundational, and we should take advantage of what we're doing here, sending these young men to a boot camp so that they can learn how to be a father and be present in their lives, because it's just not a known thing in a lot of our culture. So what has happened now is that people nationally have taken notice. Nashville is going to have a program like this. Down in Florida, they're opening up a program like Fathers and Family Support Center, so it can become a national template, and on a national level, we can teach people that are biological fathers how to be fathers to their children, and it is amazing. And congratulations to Sherry Tillis and the whole gang over at Fathers and Family Support Center. They're amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you first told me about your involvement with this, that was my first reaction, is this needs to be something national, because it makes a lot of sense. People deserve multiple chances in life as long as they're willing to put in that work, and that's the whole purpose of this program. So how long is that boot camp?
It's a pretty substantial commitment that you have to make. You start off, first of all, you have to show up on time every day. A third time that you don't show up, you are out and you have to start over. It's about 6 months, but it teaches young men not only how to be present in their kids' lives, but it teaches them how to go about life, how to deal with finances, how to have a job, how to have transportation and maintain transportation. Some people don't know how to balance a checkbook and or keep money in a bank account. So how to dress for success. There's so many things that go into it, and it is truly amazing. If you just Google Fathers and Family Support Center, St. Louis, you'll learn a lot about it, but it's amazing, and it was cool.
And I'm sure that there is some stories, too, where they're possibly breaking the cycle in their own family history.
That is what it's all about, and that's what it needs to be, is because if a kid observes what their parents are doing, and if a kid observes that the father isn't there, that becomes known to them, right? That's what they were taught. But if the father is always there, that becomes known to the youngster, and it's important to have a father figure. So I'm really proud to be a part of FFSC.
Number one.
My number one, Randy, you know, I was very nervous last week because I was trying to pull off the perfect birthday surprise for David. And I was really nervous because he is usually really good about figuring out when something is going on. So I was nervous all week trying to set this up behind the scenes. It was his 35th birthday, so a good milestone birthday. And I wanted to pull this off because he does a lot of great things for me. And so I had the friends making sure that they wouldn't tell him anything. We lead up to Saturday, his birthday, and he already kind of feels like something's going on. He's like, so are we like doing dinner tonight? I was like, yeah, I can grab a reservation somewhere at like 7. And so then he was out all day while we were setting things up. Was really nervous about that. His dad helped, and then we were able to surprise him all the way in the last minute. I was like, any moment he's going to figure out what I have going on and what I'm doing, and he didn't. So I pulled off the perfect surprise. I was very proud of myself because it was the only time I've ever done a surprise party like that where I planned the entire thing. And I was so nervous that it wouldn't work and he would figure it out pretty early. And then I'd have to tell people I screwed up and I didn't do this whole surprise party like I said. But it worked out really well. It was a great evening with a bunch of our friends and great food. I got food from Buzz's Hawaiian, which is one of my favorite spots in town.
I saw the picture.
Oh, it's so good, Randy. Masubi is one of his favorite things on earth. If you haven't had masubi, you guys need to go to Buzz's Hawaiian. Masubi is Spam sushi, is the best way to put it. It's a Hawaiian treat, and it's Spam that is like fried in teriyaki sauce. Sometimes you can put egg in it. It has rice and seaweed wrapped around it. Oh,
delicious,
it's so good. And I got some sushi for him, so I was just glad that I was able to pull off the surprise for him.
Congratulations. Good for you. Good job. Brooke, my number one, and we haven't talked about it yet. The Blues come out of their break with 2 impressive wins over Buffalo and Montreal. You look this morning, the Blues are sitting right there in the second wild card spot, tied for the second or the first wild card spot. But did you realize that the Blues are 15-7-1 under Drew Bannister?
Wow.
They've won twice as many games as they've lost under Drew Bannister, more than twice as many as they've lost. And they're playing exceptionally well. And I think they're above their skis here. I think the Blues are outplaying their talent level, and I'm really impressed with the job that Banny is doing. So congratulations to the Blues on those two big wins. They're in Canada still tomorrow. They go to Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs, and hopefully a home game for Robert Thomas and Jordan Binnington. Hopefully the Blues can come away from Toronto with a victory tomorrow too. But they're hot. They're playing really well.
And they're down 2 defensemen. You don't have Justin Falk still. You're without Scott Perunovich. But what did we say that you would need in this second half of the season for him? That you would need Jordan Kyrou to be Jordan Kyrou. And in that game against the Canadiens, he scored twice. And another player that we talked about that needed another turnaround was Torrey Krug. He had 5 assists in that game.
He's rocking.
let's just see it on a consistent basis, right?
Yep. And Jake Neighbors, looks like he's the real deal, up to 18 goals. Even he said over the weekend, no, I never envisioned myself as a 20-goal scorer in the NHL, but he's got a couple of months left to get a couple more goals, so I think he's going to make it.
Yeah, it's exciting for the Blues.
Yeah, they're going to be great tomorrow night. Blues at Toronto, 5 o'clock pregame, 6 o'clock face-off here on 101 ESPN. All right, there you have it. That's 3 things we love from the weekend. Next up, 4 downs from the Super Bowl here with Brooke and Randy on 101 ESPN. Hey, we're still going to have a little bit of cold weather left in St. Louis over the course of the next couple of months, and that's why you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers at hoffmanbros.com, HOFFMANN, and they'll come out and they'll take a look at your furnace. But as we get past the month of March, they'll also take a look at your air conditioner. And I'm proud to be a member of the home protection plan at Hoffman Brothers, where they're going to call you and set up your appointments for your heating or air conditioning at that time of year. They're going to provide you with free filters so that you get filters, and you always have filters to replace the ones that are in your home. And that makes a big difference, by the way, in your heating and cooling bills. And they'll take care of any safety issues that might arise, including carbon monoxide and gas leaks. When's the last time you changed that filter, by the way? You might as well do that now. At Hoffman Brothers, they do everything. If you want heating and air conditioning, they do it. Plumbing, electrical, they do that. They're really great at everything that they do, and they're great people as well. It's Hoffman Brothers. Heating, cooling, electrical, plumbing, and more. Learn more at hoffmanbros.com or give them all a call for your appointment today, 314-664-3011 at Hoffman Brothers.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, Super Bowl 58, and the Kansas City Chiefs won their third Super Bowl in 5 years, and their second one over the San Francisco 49ers, this time in overtime, 25-22. Patrick Mahomes wins his third Super Bowl MVP as well. Also a big weekend for the St. Louis Blues. First, it was a 3-1 win over the Sabres in their return from the All-Star break on Saturday, but then the big 7-2 win over the Canadiens on Sunday. Also over the weekend, some college basketball up and down play as the Billikens just get edged out by the St. Joseph's 87-86. Mississippi big win over Missouri 75-51, and Michigan State beats Illinois, number 10 at the time, 88-80. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your rodent shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Time for 4 downs from the Super Bowl here on the opening drive. And Brooke has first down.
First down.
So, Randy, you know how I like to go with a theme, typically for my NFL 4 downs, which is kind of sad because this is the last time we're doing this for a while. We'll miss it. So my theme is going to be the other MVPs, the guys who probably won't get their flowers as much today, but they definitely deserve it. I'm going to start with the guy that was so important to the game that even Patrick Mahomes gave him credit in his post-game comments, and that is Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker is absolutely nails. So he accounted for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history from 57 yards, game-tying field goal to send the game into overtime. He was 4 for 4 and accounted for 13 points. He's been perfect, Randy, in the playoffs on both extra points and field goals. He is just nails, and he deserves his flowers and a lot of credit for what he's been able to do.
He was sensational last night, and it's amazing how you don't even think twice about him hitting a 57-yard field goal, right?
No, and I wasn't even nervous. Maybe with other kickers, I would have been a little bit nervous, but I was like, oh, he's got this.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a big deal for him.
No, it's not. And how fortunate for them, for the 49ers, to have a guy that they can count on to that level. After Moody had hit that first field goal and set the record, by the way, the Super Bowl record for longest field goal, they come back and Butker hits it like it's no big deal at all. It was
Another
awesome.
day. Another day at work for him.
Yeah, and he was remarkable.
Second down.
Well, Brooke, I thought the difference in the game could be the defensive or the offensive line of the Chiefs being able to handle the defensive line of the 49ers. And Nick Bosa himself had 12 pressures, 3 hits, and 9 hurries. And for the game, Patrick Mahomes was under pressure. They had three sacks for 8 yards, but they wound up with 20 hurries of Patrick Mahomes. The 49ers did of the Chiefs. But that shows what Patrick Mahomes is, that he's hurried 20 times, sacked only 3, and is able to get away from that substantial pressure. The 49ers couldn't take advantage of it. If it would have been any other quarterback, maybe save Lamar Jackson, they would have had maybe 6, 7, 8 sacks of Mahomes last night. But he was so ready for it and got out of the pocket and was so efficient with his feet that he was able to take advantage of what I thought would be a big difference in the game. And in any other game, it would have been.
It would have been. And here's the thing that I think that is a big difference. Obviously, you can't compare Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy when we're talking about quarterbacks in that category. They're definitely in a different tier. Patrick Mahomes is in a tier of his own currently in the NFL. But the difference is that you can't really blitz or shake Patrick Mahomes.
No.
You can't. But with Brock Purdy, did you notice a difference when they blitzed him?
Oh, yeah. You could tell. And I thought that they would have some looks that he hadn't seen before, and clearly that was the case. That big McDuffie sack, they had no idea. The 49ers had no idea that McDuffie was coming off the edge on that one. And Spags always does that. He's always got a look that even the veteran quarterback hasn't seen before, and it made a huge difference last night. Purdy was... at times, he doesn't look rattled, but you could tell that he just didn't know where to go with the football.
Well, in the last game, too, I thought that Brock Purdy, we saw him use his legs a little bit more, so I was surprised we didn't see it as much, but that just kind of shows that maybe he wasn't completely comfortable with that.
And they didn't give him the middle. Willie Gay being back, Bolton playing the way he did, they didn't give him the middle like in the previous game against Green Bay.
Yes.
Third down.
My third down is, hey, did you guys know that Juwan Jennings is from my hometown? Oh, there we go. That's the third one. That's the third mention in the show today. So Rock put out a bet. Do you want to explain what you put on X last night?
I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, the over is close to cashing. I said Brooke over under 3.5 mentions of Juwan Jennings being from her hometown or near her hometown. I'm counting the one that she mentioned before the show went on the air. I'm counting that one because we were in the room. It was like 6:56. I'm counting that one. So we're at 3. We're close, baby. I mean, when it hits, you're gonna hear dings and bells all over the place.
Okay, I'm done now. I know that you guys are going to be annoyed by it, but you always are excited when you see somebody that you know. You're excited, and I didn't have any rooting interest in this game other than hoping that Juwan would do well. And Randy, he did really well. He could have been the MVP, in my opinion. You had that whole situation, too, where you had the backward pass to Juwan Jennings, and then he connected with Christian McCaffrey for that 21-yard touchdown, and he went over, and let's see, here, right here. I have this in my notes. So remember, back when he was at Tennessee, and he played for Tennessee, he had that legendary Hail Mary. He was the one that caught that from Josh Dobbs. Remember that Tennessee-Georgia game back in 2016? So Juwan Jennings has been known to do things like this. And Randy, he was actually a dual-threat quarterback back in high school at Blackman High School. That's also the high school that David Price went to. That's the second time I have mentioned that. But Juwan Jennings deserves a lot of credit for what he was able to do in that game. And he's also, I'm sure you saw this graphic as well, he became the second player in Super Bowl history to throw and catch touchdown passes.
That's pretty cool. Nick Foles being the other?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. And by the way, I called that one when we were talking about prop bets. I think both of you said, no, only the quarterbacks are going to throw passes. I said, no, somebody else is going to throw a pass. And he did.
You were right.
Yeah.
And the way that it was actually specifically worded did not cash until the overtime, because the way it was worded was, will a third player throw a touchdown pass in addition to Purdy and Mahomes? And so until Mahomes threw that to McCole Hardman, I don't think that wouldn't have cashed yet, because it would have been
4?
Because did Mahomes have a second one? Oh, he had the first one. Sorry, until late in the fourth, I should say. It didn't cash for a while there because you were just sitting on the Purdy one to Jennings, and then the Jennings ones earlier, and that for a while there until Mahomes hit his, because you needed Mahomes to throw one, Purdy to throw one, and a third player to throw one.
I thought it was just a pass.
No, it was technically the bet was touchdown throwers plus or minus 2.5.
Okay.
So you needed Mahomes to get that third one in there for it to clear. But yeah, it cleared as soon as that hit.
Wow.
So he looked at ease because he was a quarterback in high school. He was actually highly recruited, and it was when he went to Tennessee that he switched over to be a wide receiver, and I would say that it's worked out well for him. But honestly, Randy, do you think he could have been the MVP?
I think if Moody hits that extra point and they win in regulation, he scored a touchdown and threw the other one for the team that won. They only had 2 touchdowns. I think he would have been. I think I would have voted for him. I don't know who else you would have picked, unless you picked Bosa, like I said earlier, with the 12 pressures. And I said 20 pressures. They had 22 pressures. But Bosa was a monster in that game. And I guess if they would have been able to hold Mahomes to just 1 touchdown, then it would have been a different story.
Bosa's got to get there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like for him to actually win it, he would have had to get there for a sec. But the media gives it to him with just a bunch of pressures, and they can't throw up a 1.5 sack stat line.
He was the best. Aside from Mahomes, he was the best player in the game.
I agree.
So,
4th down.
All right, Brooke, we talked about this earlier, and you referenced this with Harrison Butker. But, man, we just don't pay enough attention to special teams being a big part of the game. And the fumbled punt, the muffed punt by San Francisco that set up the first Kansas City touchdown was huge. The Jake Moody missed. He didn't miss the extra point. It was blocked by Kansas City. That was a huge play in the game. And Kansas City did everything right on special teams. San Francisco didn't. Ironically, San Francisco did everything right in special teams in that really cold game in the NFC Championship game in Green Bay a couple of years ago, and Green Bay screwed up on special teams. It's amazing how when you get to these close games, it winds up being special teams and turnovers, and it really was again last night. For all the greatness of Patrick and Mahomes and all the greatness of Travis Kelce, oh, by the way, was targeted 10 times, caught 9 for 93. For all of that greatness, the difference in the game was special teams, and Kansas City's was better. San Francisco's were deficient, and that's why you have, in overtime, one team ahead of the other. It really all came down to special teams. And if it's not for the blocked extra point, San Francisco wins that Super Bowl in regulation.
And that's honestly why I enjoyed the Super Bowl so much. Once again, no rooting interest for either team, but what I enjoyed about it is that it literally came down to mistakes, just little mistakes that made the difference of who won this game. And it did. It came down to the missed extra point, and it came down to the muff punt. Those are things that I personally like to see, where this is such a close game that it came down to little moments like that.
Would you have been, and I know America would have been bothered, would you have been bothered if Butker would have been named the game's MVP?
No.
4 field goals, including
No,
that 57
you heard me.
yarder?
I'm all about Harrison Butker.
Yeah, he nails a 29-yarder with 3 seconds left in regulation, kind of overlooked.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's automatic, but maybe he's too automatic for his own good.
I feel like it always just goes to the quarterback is the thing.
Yeah. But it was it wasn't an artistic game, but it was a really fun, entertaining, competitive game.
It was, especially towards the end, the fourth quarter and overtime. Everything you could have wanted. It made up for the first 3 quarters.
That script was perfectly written.
Oh, Randy, you can't reveal the script.
I'm not revealing it.
We can't talk about it. People think that we're in on it, that the media's in on it.
We
remember?
are, aren't we?
No.
See, I don't care how cheesy it could have been. You miss the chance. Like, what writer misses the chance to just needle drop slow motion Travis Kelce dragging 4 49ers into the end zone for that touchdown? I mean, come on. I mean, the writers were slacking on that one. If you want to finish it with a bang, do it right. Thank you very much. Don't toy with me. Don't play games here. Just give me the ending I want.
Can we have people text in? Because we already got one person who said, from the 3 and 4, NFL is scripted. I want to know. I want you to give me your evidence, because I love this. Randy, you know I'm a sleuth. Yeah. I love, with journalism, really taking a deep dive. Show me some evidence, because I would like to know. I want to get in on this action of if this is scripted or not.
Okay, one thing that they didn't have, that they didn't show on CBS last night, before Dre Greenlaw was running back on the field, there was somebody behind him with a razor blade that cut.
Randy, that was so bad.
It was.
I couldn't believe that actually happened.
Well, it was in the script, Brooke.
Oh, It's like he got pushed by the ghost of something.
Yes, but it was that little razor blade.
Yeah, you just didn't see the hand in there. They edited it out.
It was
there
AI. They had some AI going. So it was cool.
What a sad moment that was, by the way. I feel for him in that moment.
Yeah, well, it was part of. He knew that it was coming. It was part of the script.
Oh, yeah, you just have to, an injury like that, part of the script.
Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Send in your text to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take It or Leave It coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke for Universal Windows Direct. Have you been surprised by an energy bill lately? I know that I have. One way that you could start looking for ways to cut down on your costs that you probably didn't even realize is through your windows. And that's why I got connected with my guys over at Universal Windows Direct, where their windows keeps the cold air out. Call Universal Windows Direct today and they'll upgrade your new windows to triple pane glass for free. That is 3 layers of glass between you and the cold outside. Triple pane means extra protection from the elements, a consistent temperature in your home, increase energy efficiency, which also leads to reduce heating and cooling costs like we were talking about to help with that energy bill. Call this number 314-334-2522 to schedule your free in-home estimate today, and you can get all of these benefits. For every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 for free, plus that free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Restrictions apply. Tell them that I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your next project. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, Brooke, Matthew, Randy here on 101 ESPN. It's time for Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Okay, Brooke, Matthew, work with me here. Take it or leave it. You can't figure out why people have so much hate for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I'm going to have to leave it just because of the question that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see why people don't like it, because they hate love, Randy.
Okay.
They hate a true love
happiness,
story.
nicety.
But yes, I'm going to take it on the other way of that I don't understand it whatsoever. I guess because there's so much coverage around it. I think in general, people just don't like pop culture and all the different kind of stuff. And when it mixes into sports, it seems to always cause a kerfuffle, if you will.
These people would have hated the idea of Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. Hated it.
Did that get like a ton of coverage?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I know it was a big story, but I'm saying, was it like to this level of coverage?
Well, there wasn't this
social
level
media,
of coverage. We didn't
all
have
the
the
different kind of
internet.
stuff, but it was a huge talker.
But it was in New York.
Ooh.
In back in the day, where they had, at that time, I think they had like 15 or 20 newspapers, something like that. So, yeah, I guess people generally just have, as we mentioned at the outset, hate in their heart. Was it
negative coverage?
I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't think we were such a negative, hateful world at that time. But like people putting on social media that Travis Kelce is unlikable. What's unlikable about Travis Kelce? Is it the fact that he has the free camps for young tight ends, or that last year during the draft he organized concerts that people could go to free to raise money for charity so that underprivileged kids in the area and in Cleveland could be helped out? Or is it that he's got this foundation that helps out underprivileged, or that he just appears so nice talking to Kansas City media to everybody? What is it about him that's unlikable?
You're missing you're looking at the forest, and you're missing the troll-shaped tree in the front, where people are angry that he dances after touchdowns and then he dresses really flamboyantly before games. That makes people angry. Like, there's this huge section of people who cannot handle just people having a little flair in life.
Who are they going to like then in 2024?
Well, Daniel Tomlinson.
He's 2024.
Oh, no, in 2024. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
That's why they're angry all the time, Randy, because no one's out here just putting the football down after a touchdown and walking back to the bench.
So from
no one's out here just wearing just a Nice clean suit like they used to.
Yeah, from the 3 and 4. I don't hate T Swift or Kelsey. I hate how much the NFL flaunts it in our face, shoving it down our throat.
You know, you've got the most recognizable person on the planet who is incredibly, because you had 93 of the 100 top-rated shows last year, she has increased the visibility of the NFL and brought in a new group of people under the umbrella. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch at the same time as the regular telecast last night, the Nickelodeon telecast.
No, I didn't get to see that.
Well, young girls, obviously, were watching the Nickelodeon telecast, and they showed Taylor Swift a lot. They're able to cultivate a fan base that they never thought that they would be able to get right now because of Taylor Swift. So why not take advantage of it? 49% of the people that go through the gates at an NFL game are women. So why not increase that number for those 15-year-old girls or 14-year-old girls that were watching last night? They might be buying tickets and watching on TV in 10 years, and you'll have a group of people that you never dreamed that you would have watching NFL games.
You see, and that's why I don't see the negative side of it. I always think that anytime you can bring new people into your sport, regardless of what sport it is always a good thing. Randy, we talk about it all the time. How can MLS get more popular in the U.S.? How can baseball get more popular in the U.S.? Other professional sports leagues are trying to find many different ways to grow their audience and also grow their audience that is younger, and the NFL just continues to do that.
Yep. And by the way, let's remember how this all started, because he tried to go and give her a friendship bracelet because he was a fan at the concert in Kansas City. He couldn't get to her, but she found out about it, and that's how they connected.
That's totes adorbs, Randy. And their little kiss
Totally.
there last night at the end. That was adorable.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, we're getting so many texts about this. People get upset about this.
People have hate in their heart, I'm telling you.
I'll say this right now. Every single text that's like, it's fake, it's contrived, it just makes me smile so much.
Fabricated.
It's just, God, it's
but here's the thing. If it's fabricated,
so angry about
how does
it?
she
Oh my
benefit from
God.
this?
And
She doesn't.
It's fabricated, so she flies home from Tokyo after doing a concert, 12 hours in the air, and is there at the concert or at the Super Bowl within 24 hours. On his bye week, he flies to, where did he go? Did he go to Brazil to watch her concert? There's a lot of effort being put into this fake thing.
Yeah, and it's a little too much effort.
And she's a billionaire, and he is making more money than he ever dreamed possible. So what's the benefit, right? Is it just so that they can each make an extra $1 million or whatever? I don't know. I think there's just a lot of people that are inherently unhappy, unfortunately. I'm happy about it. Good for the kids.
So this is another good one, and I'm going to play this into my take it or leave it, because a lot of people have been talking about this as the reason why they hate Travis Kelce. Take it or leave it, Travis Kelce bumping Andy Reid was blown out of proportion when I'm talking about on social media.
It happens all the time during games, but there are more cameras at the Super Bowl than any other game. Now, should you hit your head? Should you bump into your head coach like that? No. But stuff like that happens all the time on NFL sidelines.
It really does. And also, it seems like anything with Travis Kelce, because of all the publicity around him, is going to be magnified.
Right. If that happens in a 2015 Rams game, probably did. No, not with Fisher, but let's say a 2010 Rams game with Spags. Nobody ever sees it.
No.
So,
happens all the time.
Yeah, it is overblown. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line? Any texts?
Take it or leave it. If teams switch quarterbacks, Niners win by 3 touchdowns.
That's a good one. And
it depends on the quarterback. Oh, wait, no, they said switch quarterbacks.
The team switched quarterbacks, and I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it just because then it's Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to be good.
Throwing all that talent, and Bosa would have maybe killed Brock Purdy. Killed him. Yeah.
I don't want to see that happen.
No, but it might have.
I like this take. Take it or leave it. Travis Kelce yelling at Andy Reid was somewhat justified. And kids that saw that need to read that Kelce is a GOAT in the league, and you probably just shouldn't do that with your JV coach.
You probably shouldn't.
No.
But it is the NFL, and he's, 6'4" and 265 or something like that. So, yeah, if you're playing in the JFL, you probably don't have that opportunity either.
No. And here's the thing is that I can understand both sides of it. One, is it exactly a great look? No. But as we mentioned, there's a lot of things that happen. How many times have we seen this season where you have people going absolutely off the rails on the sidelines, and they're completely fine because there's so much that's happening in that game that they let out their frustrations on the sidelines?
Brooke, I went back to the comment that Carrie always makes about Coach Tomlin. I'd rather have to say, whoa, than sick 'em. And that, you want a guy, he wanted to stay in the game. Kelsey wanted to be in the game, and that's why he was so intense about it. You'd rather say whoa than have to say sick him.
Didn't he have just like one reception in the first half?
Yeah, one target and one reception, yeah.
Take it or leave it. I've never mathed so hard having the 5-2 square.
Take it.
You're sitting there.
Take it.
Okay, what do
They
I need?
don't kick the extra point, right?
It's a stressful moment. You shouldn't have to math so hard during that.
This is interesting. Take it or leave it. Spags is the defensive equivalent of Mike Martz.
Okay, it's hard for me to go there, as Spags would say, because Mike changed the game. And I don't think Spags is changing the game. But Spags is, he's a disciple of Jim Johnson, who did amazing things with the Eagles defense. If you watch the Eagles defense under Andy Reid back in the 80s, it was basically what you're seeing now. But it's hard for me to say that Spags is as innovative and is going to change the game like Mike Martz did. With all the motion, everything you basically saw from San Francisco last night with the pre-snap motion and everything, that's a product of the greatest show on turf and Mike Martz.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying from the innovation standpoint, but maybe also from the other side of just two really great coaches in their regard.
Yeah, fantastic. And Spags of his era is the best defensive coordinator. For him to put together the plan to slow down and stop those Patriots in 2007, and then for what he has done with Kansas City, it's pretty phenomenal.
Take it or leave it. The Chiefs are officially a dynasty.
Take it. Yeah,
Take it.
3 Super Bowls in 5 years, 4 Super Bowl appearances in 5 years. Yeah, they're a dynasty.
What else would you even need to consider them a dynasty? Because I think it's you're experiencing it right now, but it seems like, of course, that's going to be the talker all day. Are they truly a dynasty or not?
I think some people think that you have to do what the Yankees did in the 50s or what the Celtics did in the 60s, but that's not realistic anymore. With as even as the competition is now in sports, and with the draft and with the salary cap, that makes what the Chiefs are doing even more remarkable, because the Yankees could just go trade for a player from Kansas City back in the day. They could go get, let's just go get Roger Maris from I think they got him from Cleveland, and let's plug him into the lineup. It might have been Kansas City. But the Yankees had that ability to go get pretty much whoever they wanted back in the 50s. And the Celtics, they built a dynasty with, I think there were 7 or 8 Hall of Famers on that team in the 60s, and you only play 5 at a time. This is a true dynasty for Kansas City. Congratulations to them. And another thing that makes it unbelievable, 3 out of 5 last night, Chris Jones was the only guy that started on defense for them in the first Super Bowl 5 years ago against San Francisco, and the only starters on offense were Kelsey and Mahomes. So out of 22 starters, 19 did not start for them in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, which is a testament to Brett Veach, their general manager, and Andy Reid and that staff.
Take it or leave it. President's Day should be the day after the Super Bowl, so there's a day off.
Take it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
100%.
Yeah. People trying to sell me on having Super Bowl Saturday, which makes...
Randy, that was me. I've been campaigning
but
for that.
You're in TV. How do you say that?
What do you mean?
Because nobody watches TV on Saturday.
What about college football?
But college football isn't the Super Bowl.
I mean, if you get people to watch college football on Saturdays and the ratings do well, then you can get people to watch on Saturday Super Bowl on Saturdays.
When do they play the college football championship? Not on Saturday,
yes,
right? It's on a Monday night, right?
Yes.
People do things on Saturday nights. And the casual observer, somebody that was just at home on Sunday night last night, they're out going to a movie, going out to dinner, going out to Topgolf. What the NFL wants is as many viewers, and what the networks want is as many viewers as possible, because they sell advertising based on the number of viewers.
Yeah, and I do get it from what you're saying on a TV standpoint as to why, but I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think that if you put it there, people will watch it regardless, and then it'll become a big Saturday event, and then you have Sunday off.
You think so, but do you know so?
No, I guess you couldn't say that.
If it ain't broke, why fix it?
That's true. I just want a day off after Super Bowl Sunday. I think that's fair. It really should be a national holiday.
Monday should be a national holiday.
It should be.
Yeah, and moving President's Day is great. I mean, here's the thing.
What are you talking about? You're still going to work.
No, I'm campaigning for everybody else. Okay, Rock?
Let's throw this out there.
If you took today off, I would love to know, because I feel like you should.
Yeah.
Everybody should call in sick today.
Yeah, but here's another to our texter. George Washington is not going to care if we move President's Day back a week, all right? He's dead. Lincoln, whatever presidents are from February, who were born in February, they aren't going to care. So we can still call it President's Day. We don't have to call it Super Bowl Day, even though we know it is. But what I think should happen is that we should just move President's Day to the day after the Super Bowl. I think that's a smart move. And who's going to be offended by that? Who's going to even know? I mean, who knows when President's Day is, right? So just move it to the day after the Super Bowl.
You don't celebrate?
We used to, but not anymore. But I don't know when it is. I just accept it for when it is.
You don't go around and chop down a cherry tree on President's Day? I thought we all did that.
When was G-Dub born? Let's look this up quickly. Did anybody know?
He never chopped down a cherry tree, just to set the record straight on that one.
Did he shoot
that was
something
a lie?
It was a lie, yeah.
Are you saying that?
It's an American fable.
Are you saying that our foundation was built on a lie? No.
George Washington's birthday.
February 11th.
Dang it, Randy. You just absolutely squashed my whole Saturday thing with the college football playoffs situation.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even think about that. But that is a very fair point. I have to give you that, of course. You're Megamind for a reason, but I have to give you about that because I didn't think about that before. But I still would like it on Saturdays.
So, well, maybe they should just do it for you, Brooke.
No, they don't have to do it for me.
It's Lincoln's birthday today.
Oh, happy
and then
birthday,
GW
Lincoln.
tomorrow. So if we're going to keep the Super Bowl here,
GW was the 11th.
Yeah, yesterday. So G-Dub yesterday, and Lincoln is today.
Today, you were about to Benjamin Button it up.
Yeah, right. So here's the play. Why not? Just because this is closer to President's Day than President's Day. So let's do this. Right?
Oh, we're doing big things here.
Yeah, we've just solved a lot of problems. And it's amazing to me how people get outraged. We've had 58 Super Bowls on Sundays, and people are outraged that the game is played
there's some
on
people
Sunday.
who are in support of what I'm saying. I'm all in on Super Bowl Saturday.
Well, we're glad that you are. If you're willing to make up
From the 314.
If you're willing to make up the financial loss to the NFL, I'm sure that they'll move it for you.
They're financially fine, Randy.
No,
the
they
NFL's
aren't.
not hurting for money.
Are they getting their $25 billion a year in revenue yet? The NFL always thinks they're hurting for money. Why do you
When's
think
enough for them?
Why do you think they're
what
playing?
What about the betterment of the people?
We don't have a football team. You think they're worried about the betterment of the people?
No. But I'm just saying, when is enough money for them?
Well,
when are they going to be done?
They're playing a game in Madrid. They're playing a game in Brazil next year. There's never enough money for Roger Goodell and those owners.
From the 314, Randy, if the Super Bowl was on a Saturday, people wouldn't plan a thing. People no-show to weddings and other events for a regular Sunday game. Get real, Randy.
I don't think that you understand there's such thing as casual sports fans. There are people that tune in just because it's on, but they aren't going to change their life for the Super Bowl. There are such things as casual sports fans.
Do you guys want a really, really weird fact about presidential birthdays?
Yeah, sure.
Found out because somebody texted in and goes, George Washington's birthday is February 22nd. What are you talking about? Here's the thing. George Washington was born in Virginia on February 11th, 1731.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
According to the then used Julian calendar. In 1752, however, Britain and all of its colonies adopted the Georgian calendar, which moved Washington's birthday a year and 11 days to February 22nd, 1731. So he has two birthdays, and I don't know which one's correct. As somebody who writes trivia questions, I want to burn down this computer right now.
I did not know that.
I hate this. I'm very angry that this is a thing. I don't know what I'm supposed to go off of. I'm mad. I'm very mad right now.
So those people would have a great deal of difficulty figuring out how old their dogs are in dog years.
Yeah. It was tricky in the 18th century to figure that one out, which is a good thing is you didn't have a lot of other problems.
All right, coming up next year on 101 ESPN, what does this win mean for the Chiefs? A dynasty, but what else about Kansas City? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are even thinking about selling your home, you need to call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. You know, a lot of home sellers are realizing that a cash offer might be the best solution for them. But unlike a local investor or real estate agent that gives you one option, Gloria Lou, St. Louis's real estate expert, is able to provide multiple cash offers. If you want to sell your home without having to make costly repairs and deal with strangers in your home, you need to get to know Gloria Lou, like I have. She has a solution for every type of home seller. If you want a fast sale with no hassles, well, those multiple cash offers are a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date, and you always get the highest cash offer to choose from in minutes with Gloria Lou. Give her a call if you're considering selling your home, because she's the best agent in St. Louis. 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria Lou, the best in the business in terms of selling your home. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
It's the start of one. We're not done. I know we're going to celebrate tonight, celebrate the Pride Wednesday, Kansas City, but we're not done. We got a young team. We'll keep this thing going.
Go enjoy it. Congratulations.
That's Tracy Wolfson with Patrick Mahomes, who did lead his club to a 25-22 overtime win in Super Bowl 58 last night in Las Vegas, which, by the way, was, by all accounts, an incredible host for the Super Bowl, and let's hope that they get more. But, Brooke, when you think about what this means, number one, this franchise now is going to go down currently as one of the best of all time. They'll be right there with the Packers in the 60s, the Dolphins in the 70s, the Steelers in the 70s, 49ers in the 80s, Cowboys in the 90s, and Patriots in the 2000s. This has to be one of the greatest teams of all time. Franchise at the moment, yes. But if they win another one in the next few years, they have a chance to go down as the greatest, despite 6 for the Patriots. There were 2 separate Patriot dynasties. They had the 01, 03, 04, and then they didn't win again until the next decade. So in terms of stretches, Kansas City could put themselves at the very top of the list. The Steelers won 4 in 6 years in the 70s, and Kansas City could be right there.
I agree with you. I don't see how they're not a dynasty at this point. I don't see how it's a conversation because, without a doubt, they're a dynasty because what they've been able to do. One with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, what he's done since becoming an NFL starter in 6 years, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2-time NFL MVP, 3-time All-Pro, 6 Pro Bowls, 2-time passing touchdowns leader. I mean, you are witnessing greatness right now.
We're
with this
witnessing
team.
what might be the best start to a career for any athlete in history. You can look at Joe DiMaggio, you can look at Albert Pujols. There aren't many. Certainly in football, Mahomes is number one with the best start to a career ever. But if you look at basketball, Magic and Bird had great runs. I believe with the win last night, there's only 2 players that have won 2 MVPs, 3 championships, and multiple championship series MVPs. I think Bird and Mahomes are the only 2. Mahomes is a Hall of Famer right now. If Patrick Mahomes decides to retire tomorrow, this is another thing that this leads to for Kansas City. If he retires tomorrow, he is in the Hall of Fame. If Kelsey retires tomorrow, he's in the Hall of Fame. I think if Chris Jones would retire tomorrow, he's in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And Andy Reid is an easy Hall of Famer.
Well, and I think that, too, the scariest part about this is, don't you think that this was supposed to be the year that you could have knocked out the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Where they wouldn't have been in this position. I mean, it felt like there was times this season, we talked about it at length, that they were not good, and they weren't. They were struggling, especially offensively, not defensively, but offensively, they were really struggling to find a rhythm, and we were like, oh, we're finally seeing Patrick Mahomes crack. Remember, that was the big conversation. This felt like it would have been the year to knock them out, considering everything that they went through this season.
After the Christmas Day loss to the Raiders, they were 8-6. And Andy Reid was asked about that last night, and he said, our problems were dropped passes and penalties. Mm-hmm. We needed to get past those, and we would be okay. And they did. Rashee Rice stepped up and turned into the replacement for Tyreek Hill. They quit committing those penalties. And that's a testament to Reid and his staff, is that they were able to fix the problems that existed. And I do think to an extent, Brooke, and I played you a clip from Patrick Mahomes from the match when he and Kelsey were playing golf against it was Josh Allen and somebody else. And Mahomes, they had a big lead and he missed a putt to allow the other team to get back into it. And Ernie Johnson said, did you miss that putt on purpose? And he goes, Ernie, I do great TV. It's what I do. And he said, I never win in a blowout. You've seen me enough. You never win in a blowout. You wonder how much Patrick Mahomes is just toying with the opposition.
Do you think so? You think he purposely wants to keep it all the way down to the win like that, down to the wire?
Or you just play on cruise control until it really matters.
Well, I will say the end there was very exciting, and it was so Patrick Mahomes as the way that he was able to handle that. There was not a moment where I was like, oh, he won't be able to get this done.
No, but he did.
Yeah.
And then let me throw one other thing out there for you about, and this is, baseball could take a cue. All right. In baseball, you could never have a market like Kansas City win 3 championships in 5 years or go to the championship 4 times in 5 years, because the Royals would lose all of their guys in free agency. They wouldn't be able to afford them.
No.
Basketball, you had that in San Antonio, but you have a cap. Hockey, you have that in Tampa, but you have a cap. One thing that football does better than any other sport is provide enough parity so that every franchise has an opportunity to win. I believe the only markets smaller in the NFL than Kansas City are Jacksonville and Green Bay. Green Bay has won their share of championships, even in the salary cap era. And now you see Kansas City doing it. And this is a testament to the NFL, that if you are smart, that you have the opportunity to win. Because in the other sports, it's generally big markets that are winning.
Well, and that's why I believe that they are a dynasty. One, because you have now the resume to prove it, but also on top of that, their repeatability is just incredible to witness. The fact that they're able to do this. Remember, Tyreek Hill leaving. It was like, well, who is Patrick Mahomes going to throw to? They were still able to find a way to win outside of him. And then you have this season, his O-line was weakened. His number 1 wide receiver turns out to be a rookie, and you don't know
they lost
how that's going to go.
Brown.
Yeah, they lost Orlando Brown. There was a lot of big question marks surrounding this team, but they continue to find a way to repeat in this way. And oh, by the way, he's going to restructure, I'm sure, his contract. And even though they have a lot of free agents this offseason, Adam Schefter, you can go look at the tweet. He tweeted out the long list of names, including Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, there's Willie Gay. The list goes on and on. It seems like you're not as shaken after seeing what happened this season.
No, it's great to have number 15 under center, and they won last year with a bunch of rookies playing on defense, and with their defensive coordinator and their position coaches, they'll just keep it going. So ultimately, in addition to being a dynasty, they could go down as one of the best organizations in recent sports history, certainly since the expansion era of, well, for the NFL in the Super Bowl era, but in baseball, the expansion era since 1960. That's Brooke, I'm Randy, and that's today's Fresh Take. Coming up, we're going to talk some Blues hockey with our buddy Chris Kerber. Blues winning their last two out of the break, and they're looking great, too. They aren't just winning, but they're winning impressively. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Well, it's Monday morning, folks, and the last thing you want to do is deal with a broken furnace. And when you do have one, you call the folks at Classic Air Care. Now, you can check them out online at classicaircare.com, and air is spelled A-I-R-E, so classic, A-I-R-E care.com, and check out the reviews. They've got a 4.8-star rating. And how about this one from Christopher? Vince, the technician, was very polite and timely, took his time to answer any and all questions we had. Also made sure we completely understood the service provided. Great guy working for a great company. Excellent experience. That's what you are going to experience when you book with Classic Air Care to either get your furnace maintained, maybe you need a new HVAC system, or maybe something needs to be repaired. You know that you can rely on them, and you know what? It's pretty simple. You can call them, or you can book online as well, and they're going to get out there right away to take care of you. So check out Classic Air Care. Go to classicaircare.com. Read the reviews. Know that you'll be taken care of well. Also know that you'll be very comfortable not only in your home, but with the service provided. It's Classic Air Care.
KerbSide with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Brooke and Randy and the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber, are you still in Montreal, sir?
We are in Montreal. The team's going to practice here today, although I don't know how many guys are going to be on the ice having played back-to-back. But I think they're going to practice here today. We'll fly to Toronto. I wouldn't expect a morning skate tomorrow morning in Toronto.
Did you watch the Super Bowl in French then?
No, they got English speaking. That would have driven me nuts because I don't speak French. I've actually come up here a couple times. I put on like Hockey Night in Canada in French, but no, CBC sends it to the Montreal folks in English, so I did. Randy, and you know what? People love to argue with me on this one, and you've heard me say this before, but the most important player on a football team is your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Without a doubt. You can argue all you want, but people will be wrong. The second most important player on a football team is your kicker.
The kicker, yes, sir.
Yes.
They get chided. They're not a football player. But there's only one guy on the team that when the offense can't move the ball past the 30, they can still get you points. And you look at how many games are decided on kicks, or Buffalo wide right. I mean, just. Like, the most important player next to your quarterback on a football team is your kicker.
And if San Francisco has a reliable kicker last night that doesn't get one blocked, doesn't kick it low, they win it in regulation. And Harrison Butker hits a 57-yarder and then hits the game-tying field goal with 3 seconds left. He's clutch. You're exactly right, Kerbs, no doubt about it.
Kicker. Yeah, we got kickers. Kickers need love, I guess.
Yeah. So let's talk about these Blues outscoring the opposition 10-3 in their first two games out of the break, and we were all worried about the rust after the break. How impressed are you with what the Blues accomplished in Buffalo and then yesterday in Montreal?
Well, you know what? They did what they needed to do, and the schedule was a bit favorable for them in the sense where even though both Montreal and Buffalo had played and been practicing longer, right? These are two teams struggling throughout the season to hover around that 500 mark. But they came out and they played really well. I was actually almost more impressed with the Buffalo game than the Montreal game because that first game back tends to be a little rusty. But Drew Bannister with a couple of great coaching moves, one going with Joel Hofer, worked out well there. And then the other one actually, starting that Sundqvist-Toropchenko line. I think Alexei Toropchenko's played back-to-back great games.
That goal yesterday was really impressive.
Yeah, the goal was great, and we actually, we talked to Drew Bannister about it at Toropchenko in the pregame show, and then he scored the goal with the exact play that Drew was referring to. I put that in the KerbSide podcast if people want to hear it. But they've come on, they played really well these first two games, and they're starting to get the vibe. And you've played two games, you've got 31 to go, you're tied for a top wild card spot, you got as much chance as anybody at a playoff spot. And look, I've always had fun with this topic, Randy. Like, if you say before we went on the road trip, the Blues would come home 2-1, you'd say, we'll take that, right? Well, now you got a chance, and that'd be a good road trip. Well, now you got a chance if you can go into Toronto and take care of the Maple Leafs to go 3-0, and it turns good into great. And the difference in making the playoffs or maybe missing by a couple points is going to be like that last road trip before the break. And then this one, can you turn good into great and get that last win to be a difference maker?
Kerbs, I'm curious because you're around these guys all the time, especially with them on the road, and winning is always a cure-all. And as we were talking about, they've won 7 of their last 8 games, and I'm sure that helps with the chemistry in the locker room. But what is their demeanor right now? And are you noticing just a big difference in how they are together?
You know what? I think it starts with the goaltending. I think they know that every single night they go out there, they have a chance because their goaltending is that good. And that vibe is growing. Yeah, there's a coming together. What I've actually seen, Brooke, to your point, and this is, I find this one, I was watching it and I'm sitting back going, wow. When you talk about changing core and you think of the players that we've had here in St. Louis over the last, 15, 10, 8 years, that kind of thing, and now this changing core. Well, at one point in time, you saw Matt Kessel just yapping and laughing in the lobby with Joel Hofer and Jake Neighbors and you realize, man, all these guys played together in the minors. Like there's a big group of guys now that when you look at this team, and if you go through the roster real quick, you're looking at Neighbors. You've got Sammy Blay that was down in Springfield briefly. You have Torapchenko, right? There's Nathan Walker. You've got Kessel, Callie Rosen, Hofer. There's this group of guys that have the bond of riding the bus, eating pizza out on a cardboard box on an 8-hour bus ride in the minor leagues that are now playing in the National Hockey League. And I think those bonds you're starting to see impact. These guys like playing with and for each other, and you're seeing it.
And Kerbs, I would think Drew Bannister, who's now 15-7-1 as the Blues head coach, he's part of that too. Those guys not only rode the buses together and were together, but they did it with that coach too.
Well, and some of these guys went to a Calder Cup final with him a couple years ago. So, yeah, he did it with him. He knows what it takes, with some of these guys. So, yeah, that history helps. And, you just got to get at it and you see where it goes. But, I mentioned the goaltending. Look, the other reason is without a shred of doubt, the other reason the team's having success and the reason you're 15-7-1 under Drew Bannister is your power play. First 28 games of the year, you were under 9%. Since he got here, the power play's clicking at 27%. I mean, that's a huge difference, and it's getting a power play goal early again, Buffalo, to start to turn that tide, things like that, and it's making a huge difference. But you're right, winning cures all, and they're starting to feel that confidence, and a confident hockey team can be a dangerous one.
Well, we talked about that we would need to see a lot more from Jordan Kyrou after the All-Star break, and he started off with a bang. I mean, he scored twice against the Canadians. Do you think that this will be the start of something big for Jordan Kyrou now in the second half of the season, and what are you expecting from him?
Listen, I know a lot of people when you look at Jordan Kyrou, you're sitting there saying, okay, obviously that big contract is there, and then the points have to come with it, and that part is true. All right, that part is true. But you're looking at a kid that right now has 40 points on the season, so he could end up. There's a chance that, and he's got the ability to end up with 60-plus points. Now, is it the 75 and the 73 that he had in the previous 2 years? No. But if you end up with 60-plus points from Jordan Kyrou, and he's plus, or he's even like minus 4 or 5, that's a lot different than a Jordan Kyrou last year that had 73 points and was minus 38. All right? I mean, that's a huge difference there. And if you take out the empty net goals against, right, he's right at even. If you take out the empty net goals for and against, he's actually right at even. I'd love to see the National Hockey League take empty net goals, much like they do special team goals, out of that plus-minus stat. So having said that, you've seen some games that were kind of like, Jordan Kyrou. You've seen more games, though, that are a better Jordan Kyrou, more conscientious. He won some puck battles. He was hounding that puck in Buffalo. So all in all, I know the point totals aren't where people think it should be, and that'll come. But Jordan Kyrou is playing a better all-around game this year than he did last year, and that's why the team is where they are, and one of the reasons why the team is where they are versus where they were.
Finally, Kerbs, from me, 12-8-1 are the Blues against the East. They've got Toronto tomorrow night. And it's not like they've been terrible against the West. They pick things up against the West. But the Blues continually have had success against the Eastern Conference over the years. Why do you think that is?
I haven't been able to figure that out. I think that more recently, or over the last 10 years, I think that heavier style, grinded out style of play has been a big reason for it. I was looking this up this morning, Randy. Check out these gems for you. So now I realize and there's no such thing as a broadcaster jinx, so we'll get it out there, and then we can go sacrifice some Kentucky Fried Chicken later.
There you go.
But Blues have won 6 straight games in Toronto. Okay, 6 straight in Toronto. In their last 20 games in Toronto, and that takes you all the way back to the 97-98 season, 16-2-2. The only regulation losses they've had in Toronto were in 97-98 and in 15-16. And you remember that great, Randy, that great game in November of 2000?
Yep.
The Blues are down 5-0. They score 5 third. They were down 5-0 4 minutes into the third period. They scored 5 goals, eventually get the game winner to win 6-5. And counting that game and since, they've gone 13-1-1 in Toronto. I mean, that's just it's crazy kind of numbers to think that the Blues have come up to Toronto and in the last 25 years only have 2 regulation losses.
That's amazing.
Now, some are going to say that's due, and now that I got that out, I realize I'm just going to get 8 tweets out the wazoo. But that's a pretty good dominance of a team when you're in their building.
Yep. Hey, one more quick thing. I know Dom Lucian at The Athletic. He's got the Blues with a 12% chance to make the playoffs. I'm assuming his numbers are as random as mine. So I'm going to go 28% this morning. 28% chance to make the playoffs for the Blues. And my number is as valid as, actually, it might be more valid than his.
Well, it could be. Hell, the team was worse than even predicted last year, so I don't know what to make of it. I'm so not a fan of that dude. I mean, actually, I don't know the guy. Could be a terrific guy. I don't know the guy. I've never actually even talked to the guy. But okay. They do it in all the sports. Mm-hmm. Probability of making the playoffs.
How?
Right? This drives me nuts. That number could change in the next 2 games, right?
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
Well, now it's 32%. What happened to your freaking 12%?
Right, exactly. Right.
It's almost like playoff probability, like win probability. I mean, I know what they're doing, and I'm not a professional gambler, but okay, well, 2 days ago it was 12%. Now it's 25%. Oh, yeah, you're a genius.
Kerbs, it all comes down to who's holding that game controller. That's how we get the 10,000 games. 10,000 simulated games on NHL 2K.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's right. Life is just one big joystick.
Exactly. And I'm not even going to get into expected goals today. We'll do that some other time.
Oh, you're going to get me. You'll get me rolling. Here's the deal. Now statistically, remember the Blues were in a playoff spot on Thanksgiving, right? Mm-hmm. And over I forget how many decades it's been, right? The team that holds a playoff spot on U.S. Thanksgiving, we have to say U.S. Thanksgiving because we're at an international
you get it
sport,
right? Yeah.
On U.S. Thanksgiving, a team that holds a playoff spot is like a 74% chance of making the playoffs. So the Blues went from a 74% chance of making the playoffs on Thanksgiving Day, apparently, to and historical numbers will give you that, to Dom's 12%. While they're still in a playoff spot. I don't get it.
Well, Kerbs, 28% for me today. So
okay. Listen, do me a favor. In an hour, will you tweet 30?
I will. Yeah, it's because
it's ever changing.
It is. It depends on how the people did in the NHL 2K this morning.
I love it.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Have a great start to the week.
You too. Have a good one, and we'll be tuned in tomorrow night.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Thanks, Kerbs. That's the radio voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber. Yeah, it's I love my numbers.
Oh, you do? Yes. Yeah. I love expected goals. That's one of my favorite stats out there because you really could just say anything. Someone from the 636, the video probability for the Blues to win the Cup and seeing it move in 2019 was pretty neat. Remember that? Mm-hmm. You remember that video? That was cool.
That was. Yeah. And then they won it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. So
not a high probability there for a while for them.
Oh, come on. Once these people start putting X's and Y's and Z's in their math problems, I'm out.
That was the moment I checked out.
Yeah.
Algebra.
Just give me real goals. I want to score 10. Okay, sure. My expected goals this weekend might have been 4, but I'll take the 10. I'll take the 10. It's a way. It's a good thing. Coming up, we've got the fight here on 101 ESPN. Matthew, do you need a fighter? All right, then text in 314-399-9646. 314-399 yo with your name and the word fight, and maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN. We're going to have some winter coming up in St. Louis, and if you are starting to notice maybe a little rust, maybe just a little discoloration of your gutters, I want you to get in touch with gutterpros.com, because gutters are really important on your home. And if you see water coming over the side of your gutters, that means they're not working very well. Sometimes with the winter, your attachment for the gutters can fail and your gutters are kind of being pulled off your house. Gutter Pros can fix all of that. If you go to gutterpros.com, they're going to send their St. Louis-based people out to provide you with a free estimate, no pressure, and they'll show you what they're going to do, and they'll show you what the best product is for your home, and your gutters will work perfectly. And if you need leaf protection, they'll provide that. And they also have great deals, and they do fantastic work on soffit and fascia around your house so that everything looks fantastic, but then it's functional, and the water from the rain in St. Louis actually goes down your downspouts rather than over the side of your gutters. Get in touch with Gutter Pros at gutterpros.com. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, 4.9 out of 5 stars on their reviews. It's a great company that I use, and I hope you will too. Gutterpros.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Super Bowl 58 last night, and it was a good one as the Kansas City Chiefs outlast San Francisco 49ers in overtime and win their third Super Bowl in the last 5 years with a 25-22 victory. Also over the weekend, big wins for the Blues, a 3-1 victory over the Sabres and a 7-2 win over the Canadiens. And if you want to hear more Blues talk, you can go back to the Dobbs Tie Out of Centers podcast later on today and hear Chris Kerber talking it over with Brooke and Randy. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Kerber.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley here alongside Randy Kerber, Matthew Rocchio. Danny Mack will be back with us tomorrow, but it is now time for the fight, and our fighter today is Terry. Terry, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning. Have you ever fought Randy in the fight?
I have not. This is the first time.
Okay, I was looking through your history, and you've been texting for a while, so this is a big moment for you, right?
Right. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. How did you feel about the Super Bowl yesterday before we get into this fight?
It was awesome. We loved every minute of it, and, of course, especially the end.
There you go. Okay. You ready to take on Randy?
Yes.
Question number 1, Terry. There were a lot of records set last night, but which career Super Bowl record did Mahomes set? Was it passing yards, touchdowns, or fumble recoveries?
Passing yards.
Who is the Super Bowl MVP trophy named after? Is that Paul Tagliabue, Pete Rozelle, or Paul Brown?
Pete Rozelle.
Question 3. Prior to Mahomes' performance last night, only one quarterback had put up over 325 passing yards and 50 rushing yards in a Super Bowl. Which NFC passer was it? Was it Joe Montana, Steve Young, or Donovan McNabb?
Steve Young.
And there have now been 9 different repeat matchups in Super Bowl history, which is the only one that featured 3 matchups. Steelers-Cowboys, Redskins-Dolphins, or 49ers-Bengals?
Steelers-Cowboys.
All right, we'll double check the score. Terry, how are you feeling?
Oh, pretty good. Maybe 2 or 3 of them, I think.
Okay. We were talking about probability earlier and expected goals. That's Randy's favorite stat as he walks in right now with his grapes. What did you have? What was your probability that you had going in of expected questions answered?
Today?
I'm asking Terry, but yeah, I'll ask you too, Randy.
Okay.
Terry, what was your probability going into this one?
I'd say 2 out of 4.
There you go. Okay, Randy, what is your probability going into this one?
I'm also going to go 2 out of 4.
Okay. We'll see how this goes. Say hi to Terry.
Terry, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you? I'm even better after the big win last night.
Good for you. Congratulations.
By the way, my algorithm cranks out a much higher X for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what do you have?
3.2.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, good.
We love numbers here. Okay, you ready to take on Terry in the fight?
Ready.
Question number 1, Randy. There were a lot of records set last night, but which career Super Bowl record did Mahomes set?
Well, I know he set the record for most rushing yards in the Super Bowl by a quarterback for a career, so I'll go with that.
Who is the Super Bowl MVP trophy named after?
Super Bowl MVP trophy is named after, I don't, okay, I guess I need to use the old lifeline because it's recent that they've done it. So, yeah, throw it out here, big boy.
Is it Paul Tagliabue?
No.
Pete Rozelle or Paul Brown?
It's the Pete Rozelle trophy, yeah.
Question 3.
Yes.
Prior to Mahomes' performance last night, only one quarterback had put up over 325 passing yards and 50 rushing yards in a Super Bowl. Which NFC passer was it?
NFC passer. I think I remember this. Let's just go back, though. It wasn't Eli, and I don't think it was Nick Foles. It certainly was not Kurt. He never rushed for more than 50 yards in a Super Bowl. 325 and 50 rushing. There's only a couple here. Steve Young would be one possibility for me. Staubach never got to 300 yards passing in a Super Bowl. So Eagles, Giants, just trying to think of recent ones. Steve Young seems like he could have done that in that game against the Chargers. So I will go with Steve Young.
All right, and there have now been 9 different repeat matchups in Super Bowl history, which is the only one that featured 3 different matchups.
3 different matchups. I believe you had... hold on, let me know. You didn't have Dallas and Miami 3 times. You would have had Washington and Miami twice. You, let's see, Niners. Let's see. Buffalo had the 2 against Dallas. Denver had Green Bay. Denver's been in a lot of them. So Denver had Giants, Washington, Green Bay, and then in the other 2, Giants, Washington. Who else did they get drilled by in the first round of their Super Bowls? Before they played Green Bay, beat them in Atlanta. So it's not Denver. I can rule them out. Raiders, they wouldn't have had it. Niners would not have had 3. Let's see. Niners, Kansas City. No. And then Kansas City's other ones, Tampa, Vikings. No. So I'm just trying to think of the teams that had multiple. So maybe with the 10 that New England had, or 9 that New England had, they had the Rams twice. They had Philadelphia twice, but not a third time. This is a tough question. Okay, 3 times. I already used the lifeline. So, okay, sorry about the time, kids, but I just
I was waiting for the text to come in to say, put Randy on a clock.
They'll come on, but I can only go through the teams so much, right? So fast. So let's just go through let's see, Cowboys and Steelers. Cowboys and Steelers 3 times. There you go. Twice in the Steelers run, and then the one in 1995, Cowboys and Steelers. So, yeah, the one. Yeah, I'll go Cowboys Steelers.
Okay. Now here's a little thing here, everybody. Because I'm not sure we have a winner or if we're going to go to a tiebreaker. Because here's the thing. Randy Carricker did not select one of the selections in number 1. But he was correct in what he said. Because I had a list last night, an article that listed all the records set last night. And they did not list the one you came up with, which is correct. He did set that career rushing record for quarterbacks in a Super Bowl. And so because of that, I'm going to give you number 1.
You better.
And because I'm going to give you number 1, we have a winner in today's fight.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The Fight is driven by CarShield. Plans to fit any budget. Visit carshield.com today.
I sound like Blue's Clues when I do it. How do you do the air horn?
Just twinge. Sorry. Sometimes it likes to hide from us. Here we go. All right. So here's why there was a little bit of a discrepancy, and I'm sorry, Terry, because of question 1, he did beat you 3-2 today. You guys both right around your X questions correct on that one. Nicely done. And I'm going to explain it a little bit better. On number 1, the question was there were a lot of records set last night. Which career Super Bowl record did Mahomes set? Now Terry answered this question incorrectly. The question that I had down correctly, which was Pat Mahomes now does hold the career Super Bowl record for fumble recoveries with 4 fumble recoveries in his career because he fell on 3 last night. But Randy was correct. That was not in the article I found with all the new Super Bowl records set last night. He is also now passing Joe Montana, the leading rusher for a quarterback across his 4 Super Bowls. So we're giving Randy the point on number 1. Well done, Randy, pulling out a correct answer that was not even on the sheet. That's impressive. The Super Bowl MVP trophy is named after Pete Rozelle. Prior to Mahomes' performance last night, only one quarterback had put up over 325 passing yards and 50 rushing yards in a Super Bowl. Steve Young did not pass the 325 passing yard threshold, but Joe Montana did. Joe Montana, the only one to do it prior to Mahomes. And 9 different repeat matchups in the Steelers and the Cowboys is the only one that has gone 3 different times. So a 3-2 win for Randy Carricker in the fight today. Terry, you did a very good job. You almost forced the tiebreaker. Nicely done, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Terry. Great to have you with us, and have us a happy Super Bowl Monday, and congratulations on your win in the Super Bowl.
Kicking off and over.
Yeah, there we go. Terry with us on 101 ESPN. All right, pitchers and catchers report for spring training tomorrow. First full squad workout, or at least pitchers and catchers workout, will be on Wednesday, Valentine's Day. What would be the worst case scenario? Is there a best case scenario for the spring for the Cardinals? And what would the surprise be? We kind of talked during a commercial about what the worst would be, but we want to do the best because we're positive people here on 101 ESPN.
We still should talk about the worst.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, I am a real devotee of a good-looking floor. And if you want good-looking floors in your home, there's one place to go in St. Louis. It's Ambassador Midwest Floor. They do an amazing job of getting the best flooring for your home. And you can go in and you can see so many different floors. Don't go for the cheap floors from the box store. Ambassador Midwest Floor has the largest selection, and you can choose from the latest floor styles that are pet-friendly. That's important. Stain-proof. That's very important. Waterproof. And you can celebrate with the finest collection of Shaw floors, hardwood, carpet, luxury plank at Ambassador Midwest Floor. Plus, you can save up to $500 on all Shaw floors during their incredible sale that's going on now. Other than your walls that you can paint, your floors take up the most space in your home, and they're the thing that everybody notices when they walk in the door to your house. So you can get the greatest floors, the best looking floors, get the finest installation from Ambassador Midwest Floor's employee team of over 100 master craftsmen certified in the latest flooring technology. Love your floors and experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. Learn more at ambassadorfloor.com. Brooke, what do you not want to hear tomorrow on the first day of spring training as pitchers and catchers report and take physicals for the Cardinals?
So I can do worst case scenario?
Yes, you can.
Oh, you said it. You said that we weren't going to be able to.
I'll do Sunshine Lollipops.
Okay, worst case scenario.
Hold on a second. Wait a second.
What?
I know I don't believe in it, but you're going to put this out in the universe?
Well, no, I don't want to put negative things out in the universe. Please don't come. If this happens, please don't come after me, okay? Please, I'm not. I want to clarify. I'm not asking for this. We are just putting out worst case scenario. Because, Randy, rephrase it or give me the question again, and then I'll answer it.
Okay, here is the question for you. Pitchers and catchers report for the Cardinals tomorrow. Is there a best case scenario for the spring for them? Health, surprises, winning? Does it matter? And what's the worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario is Sonny Gray is injured.
Oh, no. Don't say that about it.
I don't want that to happen, of course. I'm just saying, if we're talking about worst case scenario, something that could just really disrupt this season for the Cardinals would be Sonny Gray. But
why would Sonny Gray sign so quickly when everybody else waited?
Uh-oh. Are we going like full NFL conspiracy right now?
Yes, we just did.
There's something scripted here. There's something suspicious. There's something fishy going on. Come on. And Randy, you would know the script for the Cardinals because, of course, a lot of people think that you're on the DeWitt's payroll.
But
so are you revealing something to us right now?
Well, no. Here's the thing. Number one, I haven't received a check. So there is talk that I'm on the payroll. Yeah, it is. It's late. Or it got lost in the mail, which happens now with USPS. But my thing is right now, even though I'm on the payroll, they aren't giving me the script. But I've got a best case scenario for you, and that is that everybody that had injuries last year, Nolan Arenado, Nolan Gorman, Tommy Edman, that they show up and this obviously is before pitchers and catchers, and they are good to go. And all of those guys are going to be down there by tomorrow or the day after. They're going to be participating and getting involved. So that's the best case scenario. For me, the worst case scenario is that these veteran pitchers, seasoned pitchers that the Cardinals have, that have a lot of miles on them, show themselves to not be 100% healthy right off the bat. And there have been multiple times where the Cardinals have shown up to spring training, and for whatever reason, especially pitchers, aren't healthy. And that is troubling. But the Cardinals have done physicals on everybody that they signed in free agency, and they believe that they're in good shape to go. But something always goes wrong, and
I hope not. Well, and this season definitely is different for various reasons. One, you don't have the World Baseball Classic. Adam Wainwright got injured during the World Baseball Classic. It seemed like that really threw a lot of guys off and could have also potentially led to other injuries that we saw from people last season. You hope. I think the biggest thing that you're just hoping for is that everybody's fully healthy. As you mentioned, Brendan Donovan, I think he's going to be a big part of the Cardinals, not only as a clubhouse leader and the way that he's able to help guys, because that's something during winter warm-up, so many young guys, veteran guys, were talking about Brendan Donovan and how good of a leader he is. I think that he is a big part of this team, not only offensively, but for his leadership capabilities, but also Tommy Edman, because think about how things can just really quickly fall apart. We saw it happen last year. If you have a couple of these injuries, how it can just really throw things off of the plan of what you're hoping for. And of course, nothing ever goes to plan, but you can really see how things would fall out of place if Tommy Edman isn't fully healthy, Brendan Donovan isn't fully healthy, some of the other guys aren't fully healthy, or there's a key injury there. Because my other best case scenario is that Sonny Gray is completely healthy. The whole starting rotation is completely healthy. I think that is a big part of the success for the Cardinals this season.
As things unfold in games, and I hope that there is legitimate competition on this staff. And I know that that's not realistic, that 4 of those starting rotation spots are spoken for, basically 4 3/4, because there's very little chance of Matt losing his hold on a starting spot. So it's going to be Gray, Lynn, Gibson, Michaelis, Matz. That's predictable. But I hope that Thompson and Liberatore make it very, very difficult for the Cardinals to make a decision on the back end of the rotation.
I would really like it. I think that Zach Thompson has a lot of potential, especially if they just let him be a starter. I'm concerned about, we go through that like we did with him last season. Now, was he great coming out of the pen? Yes, but we saw how things just really went the opposite way from when he was kind of being drugged back and forth. He was in the bullpen, then he was a starter, then he was in the pit. It was just too much back and forth. I like that we're going to the season where he's prepping as a starter, because I think that he could potentially, if there is an injury, really slide into that role and help the starting rotation. Now, we got some text. This one's funny from the 618. It made me laugh. Considering last year's spring to last year's record, I'll take spring with 0 wins, please.
Oh, I would like that. Yeah, if I think we're in lockstep here in thinking that spring training results don't matter. They really don't. What you want to do is get the most out of your players. Now, more for a veteran team, and this is pretty much a veteran team, but you want to see players get better, ascend. You want to see Mason Wynn not be overwhelmed at the plate. You want to see Ivan Herrera not be overwhelmed at the plate. You want to see a proper launch angle from Jordan Walker. Those are the sorts of things that we need to be looking for in spring training.
Exactly. Best case scenario, Ivan Herrera plays like an all-star, moving Contreras to DH, making Gorman trade bait for a star pitcher. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff happening there.
Yeah, I would like that. There was a rumor floating around this weekend that the Yankees are still hot after Dylan Cease, by the way.
I can see that.
Which makes sense because they offered a nice contract to Blake Snell, and he didn't take it. He wants 9 years, which is crazy. They have apparently what it would take to get Dylan Cease. I want to go back to Zach Thompson for 1 second, because in September, when they put him back in the rotation, 7 innings, he allowed 3 earned runs. 5 innings, he allowed 3 earned runs. 5 innings, he allowed 4 earned runs. 5 innings, he allowed 4 earned runs. And then 5 1/3, and he allowed 2 earned runs. But the Cardinals, they just weren't catching many balls at that point. They had so many injuries and things were going bad for them. And he turned in some really nice outings, even though the numbers might not reflect those nice outings. So I'm hoping that Zach Thompson finds his way into the Cardinal rotation somehow. I'd like to see some Ute in that rotation.
I agree with you. I think that would be huge for him. Now, okay, say that something happens to somebody from the starting rotation. Jordan Montgomery is still available. He's still out there. If you're the Cardinals, would you go sign him?
I want to see, no, I would not. I want to see Zach Thompson and I want to see Liberatore. I want to see those guys get an opportunity. So I like
but you could
Jordan
have
Montgomery.
more of a sure thing with Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Jordan Montgomery would come in and be the nominal Cardinals number one, but he's not what they need. And if you're going to sign Jordan Montgomery, you're at least looking at 5 years and $125 million. Boris isn't going to take less than that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it makes sense for the Cardinals to give him the long-term contract when they have so many big money guys that are going to come up, including, hopefully, Jordan Walker. They've already signed Edman, obviously, but in not too long of a time, they're going to have to sign some of their own guys and keep them around. And I would hate for Jordan Montgomery, who I like a lot, to prevent them, because they're going to have a budget, from keeping guys around.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That is Brooke. I am Randy. Coming up, we've got a quick rush hour reset for you here on 101 ESPN. I want you, especially if you're a soccer fan, to go to Together Credit Union, set up an account, get a debit card, because Together Credit Union is the place to find the official City SC fan debit card, with perks like 10% off food and drinks in stadium, 10% off merch at the Pavilion Team store, and express entry into City SC matches. That is with the Together Credit Union debit card. And right now, Together Credit Union is offering you a safe and reliable way to grow your hard-earned money. Certificates of deposit are attractive investments for new and experienced investors, because the return on your investment is fixed and it's guaranteed. And they're offering two fantastic CD promotions right now. The first, an 11-month CD at 5.40 annual percentage yield, and your second CD rate option is a 19-month term CD with 5.00 annual percentage yield. Both options require a minimum balance of $1,000. Go to your nearest Together Credit Union branch or visit togethercu.org today to learn more. Early withdrawal penalties apply and may reduce earnings on the account. Rate offers are accurate as of January 18th. Rates are subject to change without notice. Other rates and terms apply. Membership of eligibility required. Federally insured by the NCUA.
the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:06 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler from the 573. Brooke needs to find a new job. Bye. Brooke, you just found a new job.
Aww.
Come on, why don't you like us anymore?
Well, guys, it's nice knowing you. I'm taking off my headset right now. This person says they have to resign, so I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm so sorry.
No, don't go.
It was nice knowing you all. It was so nice.
This same person, though, provided a Carrie Davis and Marshy should resign right now. End of story. So there's
we gotta go. We're not gonna have much of a staff left.
Me and Matthew are gonna be alone here.
And I replied, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry."
I mean, if we listen to this guy, Ryder, are you good for on-air shifts from now on? No, you're not. Okay, so I don't know how we're gonna fill in the hours.
Oh.
Last night, the Super Bowl. Okay, a couple of things. Did you have a favorite commercial or two?
Can I be honest? I really didn't like some of the commercials this year. I didn't know if they were that great, but I did like I feel like a lot of people like the Dunkin' Donuts one.
That was great.
I thought that was great. I thought the Paramount.
Tom, you can stay.
Yeah, that was funny. The Paramount one felt like a fever dream. Did you guys see that one?
Yes.
That felt like a fever dream.
That was odd. For me, it's what they chose for referential humor, which is that I didn't expect such a blatant Twins reference in 2024. I loved the Neighbor, joke with Arnold Schwarzenegger in that commercial. I just didn't see a Twins reference with Danny DeVito coming into it being like, that's the home one we're going to drive through. And at the same time, I say that as somebody who, my other two favorites had to be Nick Offerman and Audrey Plaza being in it one together.
Oh,
and then I'm a sucker anytime. I'm always a sucker for Donald Faison and Zach Braff because I love Scrubs. But then you throw in Jason Momoa, and I love that commercial.
Yeah, I liked the Paramount Plus one because of Creed. You guys know I'm a big Creed fan. By the way, they're coming here. I think September. I already signed up my name on the sheet. Yes. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go to that.
But you gotta sing for us right now.
No, you guys don't want. Look, somebody already asked me to quit, Randy. I'm gonna run. People are gonna run me out of here. I'm definitely getting laid off now. Anyways,
I love the M&M's one with Dan Marino and Terrell Owens and Bruce Smith, the Super Bowl comfort one, Ring of Comfort.
The Michael Cera one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and, that was good.
Beyonce breaking Verizon. Couldn't break Verizon. That was really funny.
I also always like just the classic. I think most people go for funny, but I always like the classic Budweiser ones. It's everything that you expect.
Weird. I was
you didn't think it was
by
weird?
that.
Really? I like the nostalgia. I always like that kind of stuff. So I didn't think it was that. I guess it wasn't that exciting.
The Clydesdales one.
The Clydesdales one with the dog. Yeah, you give me Clydesdales.
Are you talking about the Bud Light one?
Yeah, the Bud Light one is what I was thinking. That was weird. That one was weird. I didn't get that.
But the Mick Ultra one early was good.
With Messi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that one.
Yeah, that was good. Let me, I was actually putting this stuff into my phone. I was actually working ahead last night, guys. Are you shocked?
Everyone's saying the Christopher Walken one was, that one was really
Christopher
good.
Walken BMW was really good. Oh, the Hellmans with the cat. That was funny.
That was a great one.
But Dung King's was great. And then the Uber Eats. You have to forget something if you get Uber Eats. The one with Jennifer Aniston, and we were together for 10 years.
Yeah,
I love the Beyonce one because first of all, her Tony Hale being in the ad with her, I love that because like the guy from Veep, he's just fantastic. I gotta think that he was freaking out the entire time they were shooting that. But also the fact that she dropped music off at the end of the commercial, and then she hit 2 songs on Twitter that popped up, and you're like, oh my god, she actually is dropping music. And it wasn't a big thing. It was just like, all right, fine, drop the music. And you're like, wait, how did that commercial just end? That was genius.
Yeah, somebody from the 314. The funniest one was Kennedy for president. I couldn't stop laughing. Can I be honest? I didn't know that he was running for president.
Real. Yeah.
That was genius. By the way,
I had no idea he was running for president. And that's not, I know we're not getting political here, but I'm being dead serious. I thought that he wasn't. I knew that he was doing something politically, but I didn't know he was running for president.
I didn't even know there was one. Is that RFK Jr.?
Yes, and I know it from Mad Men because in Mad Men there's an arc with that election, and so they play that ad in the TV show. So I knew the ad as the original as soon as it popped up because of a Mad Men episode, and I'm like, okay, this is a genius ad in a lot of ways because that's a fun old nostalgic ad.
But I was at the Super Bowl party and literally everybody in the room was like, he's running for president?
Here's the thing. How cool would it be to run as an independent and have literally no chance to win, but spend $7 million anyway.
$7 million. $7 million.
No and he has no chance. That was he could have handed the money to us. He could have flushed it down the toilet. He could have helped save dogs. He could have done something good with that $7 million. Yet, or was it a 60? It was only a 30, right?
I think it was, it was only a 30.
It felt like a long time.
Yeah.
It really did, because it came up. You're like, what's this?
He could have given it to the APA of Greater St. Louis and done a lot better things with that $7 million.
I can't believe how expensive those commercials are.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
But
now,
we are talking about them.
It's true. Now, the commercial I hated the most that played, I felt like several times, was the Tamu one, which I thought.
Yeah, Tamu.
No, it's called Tamu.
Tamu.
Is it Tamu?
Yeah, it's Tamu.
I thought it was Timu going into it. I'm like, apparently it's Tamu.
I thought it was Timu, but then that's kind of, I guess, the purpose of the commercials, because they kept saying Tamu. It was like this little jingle over and over again. Please, if you have never used that app before, do not use that app.
Yeah, don't trust it.
Please, because it will steal your information, which I know you could argue that a lot of different sites steal your information, but they steal your information, and it's just, and also a lot of people have been scammed on that.
Yeah, I thought that was the more.
It's almost like, remember Wish.com? It reminds me of that, but please don't use it. You're going to get scammed.
Okay.
I guess. We already talked a little bit about it, but I mean, other than the beginning sound mixing being a little off, I thought it was a pretty good halftime show. I'm surprised there's some people. I'm seeing some hate for it, but I mean, the commercials might not have been the best, but I thought it was a pretty good.
I was fine with it. And that's I don't listen to Usher when I'm driving around. But I'm fine with Usher. I like him, and he seems like just a great guy, by the way. No, he does.
He does. Yeah.
There was a feature on him on CBS Sunday Morning, and he's the kind of guy that you want to have people look up to. He's a really good human being. But I just have different tastes. Now, I would have rather watched the Katy Perry halftime show, or the J-Lo, or Prince, or Michael Jackson.
You're a big Left Shark guy.
Yeah, big Left Shark guy, yeah. Bruno Mars, I thought Bruno Mars was
fantastic.
But you have so many of them. It's hard to say this is the best or this is the worst, but it's middle of the pack. It's fine for me.
I think it was definitely a millennial thing. I think it was definitely big for the millennials having Usher out there. I know that there's older generations that also like Usher, but I mean, you had Usher, Jermaine Dupri that came out. You had Alicia Keys, Ludacris.
Lil Jon.
Yeah, I enjoyed it just because it brought back a lot of memories of, going out and getting that CD. I remember buying that Confession CD and playing that over and over and over again.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you guys like the drumstick one, by the way? It was...
the drumstick one.
Dr. Umstick.
Yeah, Dr. Umstick.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of cute. That was a good one, too.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the commercials here on 101 ESPN. Coming up... our buddy Jim Onder from Onder Law is going to be with us in studio. He had a commercial, too. And we're going to talk about that and more next on 101 ESPN. Hey, one of the great events on the St. Louis sports calendar is coming up. Arch Madness returning to Enterprise Center for the 30th consecutive year. Starting March 7th and running through March 10th, an automatic bid to the big dance is on the line at the State Farm Missouri Valley Conference men's basketball tournament. Now, it's been a tight race all year, and Drake is leading the way, but Indiana State and Bradley and Northern Iowa are battling for spots, and anybody can win it once you get into the tournament. It is great every year, and it is the essence of madness. Notable local players are going to be playing in Arch Madness. That includes Nick Ellington of Murray State, who went to Cardinal Ritter, Vashon's Kennard Davis Jr. of SIU. You've got Chaminade's Luke Kasubke of Illinois State, plus Alton's Donovan Clay of Missouri State. And you can get tickets now at archmadness.com. 4 single-session tickets are a great family setup with 4 large sodas, 4 regular popcorns, and it's all for $100. It's a great family event, and it's a great St. Louis sports event. It is Arch Madness, 30th year at the Enterprise Center. Get tickets now at archmadness.com. Randy, normally I kind of analyze the games as I'm watching them myself, and I don't really pay much attention to the analysts, but I made it a point last night because Tony Romo has been under so much heat for his bad performances. I thought Tony Romo had a good night last night in the booth. I thought he and Nance were strong, and I thought Tony Romo did a really good job of analyzing the game and being his typical fun self.
I agree with you. I think that, and I understand some of the aspects of why Tony Romo has been criticized a lot more this season, where it seems like his preparation maybe isn't the same as we saw earlier on. And maybe that's just him being away from the game and those players. He's been a little bit past that. But at the same time, I thought I liked what he had to say. And Jim Nance is one of my favorite broadcasters of all time. So I'm always going to enjoy Jim Nance. But to me, I think a lot of people were pointing out Tony Romo continues to point out the obvious. But I think about how maybe sometimes it's obvious for a lot of NFL fans, but you also are welcoming in new people into the sport. And what if you're new to the sport, what are you going to watch? You're going to watch the big game. You're going to watch the Super Bowl. You're going to watch the playoffs, because that's where you're really probably going to get into it more. You're not just going to watch a random regular season game. So I like how he does break it down for everyone to understand. And maybe it's a little too easy for people who are obvious NFL fans, but I think he plays into more of like making it easier to understand for everybody, even if you're new to it.
And I only want to spend a minute on this, but we had 2 TV goings, one with the Nickelodeon broadcast. I wish I would have just watched the Nickelodeon broadcast, because apparently it was hilarious.
I love the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think it's really funny, and I think it's great for kids for them to watch that. But even as adults, you kind of enjoy it too, because it's so different.
So, Brooke, I was on my way over to the 2 Fox when I went on with Martin Kilcoyne, where literally nobody was watching. We could have said the F word and nobody would have noticed.
Randy, don't say that. I watch you and Martin all the time. I'll watch you guys.
Did you watch last night while the Super Bowl was going on?
I thought that I recorded it.
Oh, yeah, you probably did. But anyway, I was listening to Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner, and Kurt Warner was wondering why didn't Kyle Shanahan defer for the start of overtime? Why not force Kansas City to take the ball so that you know what to do? And that's a great question. And for me, if you think you're going to score a touchdown, if you're that confident in your offense, then you should take the ball first. But at that point, after 4 quarters and only scoring a couple of touchdowns, one of them on a trick play, I don't know if you're Kyle Shanahan, how you could have been real confident about scoring first. So the argument for taking the ball first is really difficult to justify.
Yeah, and the thing is I see both sides of it, right? Because you want the ball first. You really think deferring is really going to impact how the Chiefs approach the situation because it's Patrick Mahomes. But then you see the other side of it is where I don't know if I'd want a situation where Patrick Mahomes has the ball last. And your defense just did get off the field. So I can see a lot of different sides of it. But then again, your defense was kind of the whole reason why you were performing so well the entire game. As we were talking about, it came down to little mistakes. I can see both sides of it. It's just very interesting that Kyle Shanahan finds himself in this situation once again where it's a devastating loss in a devastating fashion for him when his team was coached really well and played really well throughout the entirety of the game.
He makes some, as a head coach, some of those questionable moves.
Well, there were some moments where it got a little too cute towards the end.
Right.
You could say.
Yeah, and the other part of it, and I know a lot of people have brought this up this morning, from my perspective, because I said last week that I thought both teams should run the ball because the pass rushes were both going to be so fierce. Well, Kansas City's able to run the ball with their quarterback. I didn't think that, and this is just my opinion, I didn't think that Christian McCaffrey got his hands on the ball enough in that game.
No, I was kind of surprised that we didn't see him more throughout the game. And I know that he kind of broke it up in a little bit more there in the second half, but I was kind of surprised we didn't see him more.
Yeah, 22 carries for 80 yards. He caught 8 for 80, so he touched the ball 30 times. But there were times there where he was running it so well, and they could have given some pounding out to that Kansas City defense, and they didn't do it. Going back to Kyle Shanahan, he was asked why he took the ball at the beginning of overtime last night.
It's just something we talked about with, none of us have a ton of experience of it, but we went through all the analytics and talked with those guys, and we just thought to be better. We wanted the ball third. If both teams matched and scored, we wanted to be the ones who had the chance to go win, and we got that field goal, so we knew we had to hold them to at least to a field goal, and if we did, then we thought it was in our hands after that.
That's reasonable. If the game is going to go to sudden death, you want to be the first to have the ball in sudden death. I can buy that.
We're getting some texts in, and I saw some people talking about this on social media last night to the point of what he's saying, where from the 636, stories on the internet are saying that 49 players admitted that they didn't know the new playoff rules. I don't know if I buy that. I think but you think the players, though, they know the rules.
No, they
Kyle
don't.
Shanahan knows the rules.
Remember when there was that tie game, a regular season tie game, where Donovan McNabb didn't know the rules?
That's true, but you would assume that Shanahan does.
Oh, yeah, but I thought that it was just a 15-minute overtime, and that when the clock ticked 0-0-0, that it was over. But a team, if they have not completed their first possession yet, then they go to a second overtime quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually the quote from Yahoo Sports. Multiple San Francisco players said after the game that they were not aware that the overtime rules are different in the playoffs than they are in the regular season, and strategy discussions over how to handle the overtime period did not occur as a team. Defensive lineman Eric Armstead said that he learned the details of the postseason rule when it was shown on the Allegiant Stadium Jumbotron during a TV timeout after regulation. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk said he assumed the 49ers asked to receive when they won the toss because that's what you do in the regular season when a touchdown wins the game. I guess that's not the case. I don't really know the strategy, quote unquote, from Kyle Juszczyk.
See, I knew that.
Also, Pat Mahomes said that McCole Hardman didn't know the game was over when he caught that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes said he ran up to him and said, "You just won the game."
Yeah, he had
McCole Hardman
no
didn't
idea.
realize.
Wait, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
you're
McCole
right.
Hardman didn't know.
Wow.
Okay, so I understand the players not understanding. And it is very confusing because I did for a moment think that because you were talking about too how you didn't realize how the rules are different. I for a moment too thought it was going to be the same as it is during the regular season, but then they put up that graphic of the rules. Did you see that they had pop up?
I was probably in my car.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. You were talking
on
to
my
Martin.
way over to the 2
yes,
Fox.
and I recorded that, so I'll go back and watch that later.
Yeah,
But
great, thanks.
but when they were talking about the rule change, I was like, oh, I forgot about this. But I just kind of assumed that both teams would know that going in. Maybe I understand the players, but surely Kyle Shanahan knew it. He knew it.
Yeah, because he talked about getting the ball third. I didn't. The one thing I didn't know was that you get to complete your first possession. So whether they would have scored or not, if they just kick a field goal at the end of the first overtime, obviously it would have gone to a second overtime. But my question would have been, if I were able to watch, was when you are throwing the ball at the end of overtime, was there a chance that you could have lost the game with 3 seconds on the play started with 10 seconds left on the clock? But either way, it would have gone into the second overtime period, not quarter.
So do you think it was a mistake by Kyle Shanahan for not deferring?
No, I think his logic there is sound. Because it goes to sudden death once you have a second. And by the way, Bolton almost had that pick. But once you have a second possession, then it's sudden death.
Well, and then either way, the Chiefs' defense has been so good this season that I feel like in any situation, the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and their defense this season, they've been so battle-tested, and their experience, to me, is what showed off in overtime.
Yeah.
You knew what was going to happen. Either way, it felt like you knew what was going to happen.
And
Didn't you feel like that?
Totally. And the experienced coaching, as Shanahan said, we're all inexperienced in this. Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo have seen everything. So that's another big part of it. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, more college football head coaches are leaving head coaching jobs to do something else. Is college football that messed up that people don't even want to be head coaches anymore? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to feel great, guys. And one of the ways to feel great is by going to Mentality. As we pass our 30th birthday and as we get older into our 40s and 50s, naturally, as males, our testosterone level decreases. And testosterone provides us energy, and it provides us mental sharpness, and it provides us the ability to be patient. And it's a big thing for being physical, getting through a workout, getting on the treadmill, or maybe walking golf or going for a bike ride. Well, you can stem that backward tide by going to Mentality. And what they have is an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that will restore your testosterone level to where it was when you were in your 20s. And that will allow you to have the energy that you had, allow you to get through those workouts, allow you to be more mentally sharp, and just feel better about yourself. You can find Mentality and get started at lowtusa.com. You can find them on the web there, lowtusa.com, and get started. And they're going to work with your insurance company to have low out-of-pocket expenses. It can make a huge difference in your life, guys. It has for me, and it will for you. Go to Mentality. Get started now at lowtusa.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, Super Bowl 58, the Kansas City Chiefs over the San Francisco 49ers in overtime by a score of 25-22. The Kansas City Chiefs with their third Super Bowl win in 5 years, including their second over the San Francisco 49ers. Also over the weekend, the Blues go 2-0 with a 3-1 win over the Sabres and then a 7-2 victory over the Canadiens. The Blues back in action, facing off against another Canadian squad. Tomorrow night, it's a 6 p.m. puck drop. Catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. Starting at 5 p.m. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Friday was really interesting. Bill O'Brien, who had just been hired as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, took the Boston College head coaching job, which was vacated by Jeff Hafley, their head coach, who decided to become the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. So O'Brien replaces Hafley, and to replace Bill O'Brien, Ohio State goes to UCLA, and takes their head coach, Chip Kelly, one of the biggest names in the business, to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Now, Kelly was the mentor for Ryan Day. They're both from New Hampshire. They had worked together in the past. But, Brooke, I was absolutely stunned to see that a coach, regardless of how much money he's making, would leave UCLA as their head coach to become an offensive coordinator anywhere. But what's it tell you about where college football is right now?
To me, it says that the era of NIL and the transfer portal has undeniably affected college football's coaching carousel. I think that's 100% what you're seeing happening here, is because a lot of those coaches who, I would say more veteran and more experienced, they just want to coach, Randy. They just want to coach. And I understand that they have always had to deal with, recruiting. That's nothing new. But this is a whole new era where it is a business without people directly acknowledging it's a business. We're still calling student athletes student athletes. Mm-hmm. We're getting to the point where they're just athletes, and it's also an amateur sport because they're getting paid. So I can understand that as a head coach navigating those waters of NIL. Then on top of that, you have the NCAA breathing down your necks where they're trying to find some sort of relevance still. Mm-hmm. And they're all over these coaches. They're all over these schools. How do you have any breathing room as a head coach? And I know that we'll get some text in and says, well, they're making millions of dollars. Of course they are. And I don't deny that when you take that role, that you understand the responsibility that comes with it, and you have the pay that kind of helps relieve some stress at the end of the day. But I mean, think about Nick Saban. At his age, as much as he was traveling around, all the things that he had to do, then you have to deal with NIL, then you have to deal with transfer portal. You have to re-recruit your players probably just about every season and even during the season, so you don't have to worry about the transfer portal. But that opportunity is always there for the players, and they're fully aware of that.
Maybe we should change the way we refer to a college or maybe even a pro head coach. Maybe we should call them a team CEO or a manager like we do in baseball, because coaches don't really get to coach anymore. And according to Pete Thamel at ESPN, the reasoning behind Kelly's UCLA departure comes down to an affinity to coach again, spurred in part by UCLA's quarterbacks in the lead up to the Bruins bowl game this year. It's the first time in more than a decade that Kelly coached a position. And Hafley said the same thing, that he wasn't able to coach anymore. So there's a difference between being a head coach and a manager. And I don't blame these guys. And we get texts that I don't feel sorry for the coaches, but a text that says, I hate this topic. The game has changed for the better. Coaches can't rely on their name or school and lie to kids that they'll play and then just hoard talent. The old heads now have competition that they didn't, and they don't like it, so they're leaving because they won't adapt. I don't think that that's the case with a guy like Jeff Hafley. I think, or Kelly. I think they just want to coach. Now, I can see how some veterans, like a Nick Saban, would be upset that because of NIL and the transfer portal, he's not able to get and keep the 4- and 5-star guys that he once was able to. And I'm sure there are some guys that are upset about that. But what it comes down to for me, and by the way, 2 head coaches left their jobs to become coordinators at Alabama as well. And Alabama's offensive coordinator, who was with Kalen DeBoer at Washington, just left for the Seahawks, but that's another thing altogether. But to me, it does come down to the desire of these coaches to actually be able to coach players again.
That's what it is. They just want to be able to coach. And look, I understand that they're making a lot of money, and this is just the way it is right now. I personally think that NIL is a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the players that we're actually putting it out there in the forefront of where they are actually getting money, and it's not behind closed doors, or should I say in cheeseburger bags, or different things like that. You're actually having this out in the open. Randy, this has been going on behind the scenes for a long time when you're talking about NIL, but now it's actually happening. But even for the players who are not in football or basketball, the big money sports, this finally gives players a way where they could also get money on the side. They can use their name, image, and likeness for once to even host camps or different things like that. They can actually have a lot more control of that. Another reason why, going back to Chip Kelly leaving, I think it has a lot to do, too, with the dismantling of the Pac-12, or the dissolving, I guess you could say, and having to navigate those waters. And yes, there's more money in the Big Ten, but now, what is all that going to look like, that transition? Well, and maybe he didn't want to have a team that had to fly across the country 4 or 5 times this year to go to whatever their schedule is, Rutgers, Michigan, Ohio State. It's not. It is pro football. It's not as easy as it was for him. And I'm sure that for some people, it's not going to be nearly as easy to get a chance to win the Big Ten as it would have been to win a Pac-12. He never really got it going at UCLA, but they would have kept him around at least for another year. But at the end of the day, I really do believe these coaches when they say that they want to coach. And by the way, I got the impression that Eli Drinkwitz was kind of bored by being the CEO, that he really likes coaching too. Not that he doesn't like the job, but it's different now that he's not the offensive coordinator anymore and he is the CEO. It just makes a lot of sense. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz is a coach that you could definitely use an example. There's a reason why his name has been brought up in all of these big head coaching vacancies that you saw in college football, because he has navigated NIL and he has navigated the transfer portal so well. But remember, he even said in that interview when they announced that Nick Saban was leaving that he likes the product on the field. It's the business model that is not currently working for college football. And that goes back to the roots of why we're seeing what we're seeing with these coaches. It's fun to watch
I know for the coaches, they think it's a mess, but they've done pretty well. We don't have to feel sorry for any of these coaches.
And the players have done really well
They've
with
done
NIL.
really well lately, yeah. So,
they've done really, really well.
Yeah. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we're going to give away some Luke Bryan tickets. He's coming in concert, and we've got rock and roll for you here on 101 ESPN. With Brooke Grimsley, I'm Randy Carricker. The opening drive on 101 ESPN. And one of the cool Super Bowl commercials that we saw yesterday was a local spot for Onder Law. And Jim Onder from Onder Law is with us now in studio here on 101 ESPN. Good to see you.
Great to see you as well.
How did you feel about the way everything unfolded yesterday?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, there were 3 pregame spots, then the game time spot right after the halftime, which was awesome, and then a postgame spot.
Yes, a lot of Onder Law visibility there for a lot of people, right?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun.
I absolutely loved it because I was able to recognize every single character that you guys were portraying in there. So just kind of talk about the process of coming up with the idea of that commercial.
We were down at Cool Fire Studios, the production facility, and we were sitting around a table brainstorming and coming up with what's ideas, and we came up, why do people like insurance companies? Everybody has a complaint about an insurance company not paying or doing this bad or that bad, but people seem to love insurance companies, and the idea, whereas lawyers maybe not so much, and the idea came up of that's because of those lovable mascots. They go on TV and they look all cute and fun and like they're your best friends. And we thought, why not use mascots to kind of teach people the tricks of the trade, so to speak.
Yeah, it drives me crazy that I see a mascot and then have trouble getting money out of the insurance company when I pay my premiums all the time. It kind of bothers me.
You get mad at the mascot?
Yeah,
you would take it out on Flo?
So you guys at Onder Law named the top law firm in St. Louis in 2023. And I know things have, people think it's an overnight success story, but it's not. You've been around for a while, but you must be really proud of how far your firm has come in the last few years.
Oh, no, absolutely. Started practicing law 35 years ago. And, over time, I think lawyers knew us, but we never really advertised. We just kind of flew under the radar, got great results for our clients, and, we're relatively modest about it. And I have, 5 kids, all of whom want to be lawyers. And I figured, I better expand this firm or they're not going to have enough business. So we decided it'd be a great idea to team up with, stations like ESPN and expand our reach and let people know a little more about us.
You didn't want to say, hey, you don't want to do this. This is a lot of work being a lawyer.
Oh, no. The running joke in my family is you can do anything you want to do, be anything you want to be, as long as you go to law school.
And
I really mean it. I don't care if they practice law or not, but I just think law is just a great education.
Hey, I want to ask about the thought process of getting involved, because it's not cheap to get involved with the Super Bowl. What was the thought process? Somebody said, hey, let's get on the Super Bowl. What was the thought process going into that?
Yeah, we had this great idea of the mascots and kind of teaching lessons or what to look out for with the insurance companies by using mascots and teach lessons. And what better place to launch, the whole campaign than at the Super Bowl where, all eyes are on the TV.
And we want everybody to go to getjim.com, right? That's the website?
Yeah, check it out or look for us on Facebook and vote for your favorite character.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think I'm going to put mine in for Rafe.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Quite a character.
Yeah. Good to see you, Jim, and congratulations on the success of the law firm and on the Super Bowl ads. They were fantastic.
Oh, great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Jim Onder Law, here with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Great to see Jim. Hey, we've got Luke Bryan tickets to give away. Your chance to score a pair of lawn tickets to see Luke Bryan. Are you
Do
going
your
to
country voice.
Oh, yeah. Luke Bryan is going to be here July 28th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. And you can find a bonus chance to register to win tickets to see Luke Bryan at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. Am I getting it right? Does it sound like Nashville?
No, you're doing great, Randy, actually.
You can get a pair of tickets for Luke Bryan on sale now, or you can text in our number, 314-399-9646, 314-399-9646 for your chance to win free tickets to the show.
Yo-ho. Yo-ho.
That's it. 399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho. It is Luke Bryan.
Did not sound good.
And I think Matthew may or may not have a trivia question for you.
Actually, we're going to change it up a little bit here. I thought of a good idea for a grab bag giveaway. So this is Brooke doesn't have to pick her hand into the Fenton Bar and Grill hat this time to pick up the topic. I thought of a good one-off topic that I'm going to throw at Brooke. She's going to have 30 seconds to name as many artists who have appeared in a Super Bowl halftime show as she can. And now again, this is not the headlining artist.
Anybody that's appeared.
Last night there would be 4 or 5 eligible answers total. Going through all the Super Bowl halftime shows back to the mid 80s when they actually started putting real people with names.
Snow White doesn't count.
No, about the mid 80s. Yeah. I counted about 85 different names that Brooke could name here. So the question is, in 30 seconds, how many Super Bowl halftime performing artists can Brooke Grimsley name? You just need to text into the show with your guess of how many different Super Bowl halftime artists can Brooke name to 314-399-9646, 314-399 YOHO, and guess how many Brooke's going to list here in 30 seconds. Brooke, you feeling confident about this one? You're a big pop music fan.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate all genres of music, but I don't know. I'm very excited right now because we were talking about probability earlier and expected goals. Yeah. Now I feel like now I can experience this where you have the expectations for me on what I'll be able to do. So I don't want to do it too high.
Our algorithm actually kicked out a number for it.
What?
You want to know what it is?
What?
The algorithm says an X 17.2.
I was thinking 17 and a half.
Okay.
Sometimes the algorithm works.
The 30 seconds goes by a lot quicker than you think.
Don't think about the 30 seconds. Just think about name. So you ready, Brooke? We have plenty of guesses in.
Okay.
Are you ready, Brooke Grimsley?
Okay, let me set my timer too.
All right. She's got 2 timers working here.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Usher, Jermaine Dupri, Beyonce, Rihanna, Alicia Keys, Will.i.am, Ludacris, the rest of Destiny's Child, Kelly Rowland, Katy Perry. Did I already say Beyonce?
Yes.
I did. Okay. Prince, Michael Jackson. I'm already blanking. Shakira, Katy Perry.
You already did that.
Rolling Stones. I'm missing somebody.
Time.
I didn't do as good as I thought.
No,
13.
That wasn't bad, Brooke. That wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
Madonna.
Yeah, you got 13. We said 17. That's not bad at all.
But then I was trying to envision. Shakira was with J-Lo.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Bruno Mars, U2, Paul McCartney.
Oh, yes. Coldplay. Yes.
Maroon 5, Travis Scott, Justin Timberlake
Maroon 5.
has been in 2 different ones.
Janet
Nelly's
Jackson.
been in 2 different ones as a supporting
Janet
performer.
Jackson.
P. Diddy's been in 2 different ones as a supporting performer.
Was he P. Diddy in both of them?
You know what? He might not have been. You're correct about that. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige was a few years ago. The Weeknd, Bad Bunny. There's a lot. Trying to think here. You said no doubt. Shania Twain, Sting. Trying to think who else.
A lot of them.
I forgot. Now I'm
Aerosmith,
disappointed in myself, guys.
Britney
I'm sorry.
Spears, Phil Collins, Mary J. Blige.
There's
was
no
in
way you
one.
could do them all in 30 seconds.
There's no way.
No.
But I think 13's a very good number, Brooke. Are you kidding me?
Did I forget somebody from her? I forgot to mention her from yesterday's performance because I got most of the people in yesterday's performance because that was quite a bit, so that helped out. So I had Usher, Jermaine Dupri,
got 5 out of 6. You said Ludacris as well.
Ludacris, Alicia Keys, Will.i.am.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty darn impressive. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Nicely done, Brooke. Grizzly. 13's
I could have done better. No, I had remember expected goals. My expected goals were higher than that. I was expected to have 17, and I fell short. This is why I don't believe in probabilities like that.
There you go. Good. It's just a math thing.
No.
So did we have a 13, though, that texted in?
And then somebody, David Pitts on the YouTube chat, Snoop, Dr. Dre, Eminem. I'm so disappointed in myself that I forgot that.
It happens in a hurry. Life comes at you fast.
Gosh, Randy. Man.
Here's the thing, though. Those were all in one Super Bowl. So if you just forget one halftime show, that's 5 artists that you're not going to remember off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Because that was all in one.
Okay.
And
Best halftime
there's a lot of very
performance show.
random people. Yep. It's Prince.
Thank you. I agree.
Question.
Yes.
Does yesterday's Super Bowl lead you into a funk because, F-U-N-K, funk, because you don't have football now for about 6 months?
Yes.
So you've got the rest of February, March, NFL football, April, May, June, July. And so 5 months, and then you get to see the preseason. Forget about that. So 6 months without NFL football, but we do, starting March 30th, have
I was going to say, we have the Battlehawks coming up.
Are you at all depressed today because at least for the next month and a half, you have no football whatsoever? Does that affect you at all?
Yes, because I miss college football
I do too.
I miss NFL. I really do. I say miss, like it literally just ended yesterday. Sorry, that was a little dramatic, but yes, I already miss it because it's so much fun. I love all the stories that come out every single week. It's exciting to watch. Luckily, we do have baseball season, but still it kind of takes a little bit before we get into the actual season. I mean, spring training doesn't really get you going as much as the regular season.
And then when spring training is followed by 10 and 24, that's not so great either.
Randy, no, don't say that.
Well, I'm just referring to last year. Last year was not fun.
Oh, that won't happen again.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
This has always been blasphemy, and I'll say it again though. Like when pitchers and catchers reported, for me that meant that the NFL offseason was getting started. And I was happy, and I was like, all right, we got free agency, we got the draft, let's get going here. We got draft, we got depth charts to look at. Yeah, I love the offseason in the NFL when there was a team here. I'm the biggest draft nerd in the world when we had a team here, and so not having that anymore gives me a lot of free time.
Yeah,
I'm not watching offensive lineman tape nearly as much as I used to.
No, those were the days.
But I miss that. I miss watching Jake Matthews tapes and getting progressively more angry that they weren't going to draft him.
Me too. Yeah, but they did get Greg Robinson. They got 20-year-old G. Robin. He's going to get a whole lot better. He's a smart guy. He's an entrepreneur.
I was wondering how quickly you were going to take that turn.
He's all about education and improving one's financial status.
No. Oh, I miss Lil Jon. I'm trying to segue away from this. I miss Little John as well.
Lil Jon. It's not Little John. It's Lil Jon.
Lil Jon.
Yeah.
I would not have been able to name 13. I am so bad
Little
at naming
John and Little Wayne.
I am so bad at naming like artists off the top of my head like that.
Would you have given
gotten
up with
9.
people who did like 10 of them? Would you have given up with people as one of the legits? Because they did so many halftimes.
Who?
Up with people. Up with people. Like for the first 10, of the first 15 Super Bowls, Up with People did like 10 of them. Really? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
How was that?
It was not great, but Snow White was also one of them. I think they just.
There was
I'm googling.
There was a 3-year span. There were 3 Super Bowls where 2 out of the 3 years, Carol Channing was one of the main people in the halftime show.
Lovely. That's great.
What was the worst Super Bowl performance?
It had to be one of the Up with Peoples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like maybe if we do like more recent in the last 20 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but 1990.
Well, no, that would be. Yeah. Last 20 years.
92's got blown out by. Like they played an episode, a sitcom episode got played in competition with the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, that's right.
It blew out the Super Bowl halftime show, and that's why Michael Jackson does 1993.
Right.
It's because they said we can't do this anymore. And 1992 was a salute to the winter season and the Winter Olympics, featuring Gloria Estefan, Brian Boitano, and Dorothy Hamill.
Oh, lovely.
So I googled. The Rolling Stone has an article where it's the worst Super Bowl halftime performances. 36 is the Black Eyed Peas in 2011. I forgot about that one. And then 35 is everything from 1967 to 1989.
There you go. And hey, U2 sucked. It was the worst. I hate U2.
I love any moment we can find a way to bring up your hatred for U2.
That was the blanking worst.
They were in 1988. They put on Chubby Checker. That's just. In 1988, Chubby Checker was the main headliner for a Super Bowl halftime show.
I don't remember this one. In 2000, Phil Collins, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias.
Yeah.
A tapestry of nations is what they call
it. Great job today by our producer, audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
I did.
Good. Danny Mack will be with us tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Brooke, are you going to be here tomorrow, or are you going to have a cold?
It's allergies for
Allergy
me.
season.
I've already started my Claritin, but yeah, it's hitting me hard right now.
Balloon party coming up. Josh Ennis will be with you, and then BK and Ferrario, followed by the Fast Lane with Anthony and Carrie. No Jamie today. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Monday, St. Louis.
And now for something completely different.